Good evening, everybody. It's another wonderful Tuesday night, and it's another wonderful pair of rounds from the Simracersworld TCR Series here on Simracersworld TV. My name is Chaz Draycott. Alongside me, once again in the commentary box, is my partner in crime, Peter MacKay. Peter, this is probably, well, I think it goes without saying, the most demanding circuit on the calendar for sure.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure to be here, Chaz, and yes, indeed, you are absolutely right. The Nurburgring Nordschleife is one of, well, certainly the most challenging circuit in this series, and quite conceivably the most challenging circuit anywhere in the world. Dubbed the Green Hell by my fellow sideburn enthusiast, Sir Jackie Stewart, and well, he was quite right. He was Sir Jackie Stewart, one of my absolute heroes, and he says I'm very dyslexic. He says I can't recite the alphabet, but I could tell you every braking and gear change point on every corner at the Nordschleife, and I tell you what, I'd rather have the latter. Yeah,
to be honest, I totally agree, mate. Totally agree. And yeah, Jackie is a legend in his own right. He's an absolute hero of motorsport, to be fair. But yes, so is this circuit. I mean, we all know the Nordschleife. May not know every single corner in and out like Jackie does, but wow, what a place to be. And of course, we're on the Gesamtstrecke. So without doing the full Grand Prix circuit with the arena section down to the hairpin at the bottom of the hill, we actually cut it off on what I believe they call the school layout here. I know it used to be called the school layout. I think it might have been renamed the national layout on the Grand Prix part of it. But still, it's going to be an interesting one to see how well that is combined together. Is there any particular part of this circuit do you reckon that the drivers are going to have struggles with tonight because of the front-wheel drive nature of this machinery?
Well, the one thing I always find, Chaz, is that one thing that's really important at the Nürburgring is maintaining momentum and maintaining corner speed, and it is quite difficult sometimes with the front-wheel drive at higher speed, and of course there's not a great deal of aerodynamics on these cars, so you have to really you really use the tyre properly and not scrub off too much speed, which of course with the front-wheel drive is very easy to do. So I think that's going to be the main thing. You might see the kind of regular order shaken up a little bit, because you do often find Nürburgring specialists. It kind of, I mean, as you know, I'm a massive fan of motorcycle racing. I would liken it to the Isle of Man TT in many ways, because you see, riders who are the very best at the TT, but it doesn't. You could take any world champion you like from short circuit racing and go to the Isle of Man. They would still have to earn their stripes. They would still have to go and learn the circuit. And in sim racing, it's exactly the same. And in fact, probably even more important, because the Nordschleife is, if you lap it enough, you can gain a kind of instant advantage on someone who might even be faster than you in normal circumstances, but take them onto the ring. If you've done the lap times, if you've done the mileage, it can be a real kind of feather in the cap. So we'll see if there's any ringmeisters or any ring specialists out there today.
Yeah, it's one of those circuits that really does level the playing field a bit sometimes and gives you unexpected results. And like you say, it's all about having experience. It's knowing which corners you can commit to and just push the envelope that little bit more, where other drivers may just hesitate a bit and think, oh, I don't quite know, is this that left-hander or is it the next left-hander where I can keep it flat? And there are so many sections, I mean, here where they're going through the Stefan Bellavez. I mean, commentating here in real life last year, seeing GT3 cars go down there, it looks fast in the sim, it feels fast in the sim when you drive it. I still simply can't believe, oh, hello Damien, I still can't believe the pace that cars manage to go through there. And a lot of them, after the jump at the bottom of the hill, they're flat out for the whole thing, aren't they?
Yeah, but it loosens your insides watching it, doesn't it? It's just like, goodness. I mean, of course, the one thing the drivers don't need to worry about today is that they're of course, here in the Simracersworld TCR series, they're all in identical machines, so they're all their cars are all the same pace. Of course, at the Nordschleife, particularly for the Nürburgring 24, which you're at last year, Chaz, I mean, the sheer variety of cars, but also the sheer variety of skills of driver as well. I mean, you could have Kevin Estre in a factory Porsche going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and then there's me plodding along in a Renault Clio with the back seats taken out. I mean, it's it's that sort of place. And I mean, I guess that's one thing the drivers won't have to worry about is traffic management. But Strategy is one thing as well. Of course, the Dottinger hole, which Navita Sen is just coming up to now, just seemingly endless back straight here at the Nurburgring Nordschleife, and of course gives a great opportunity for drafting. So there's a little bit of strategy involved there, that when we come onto the final lap, do you want to be leading onto the Dottinger hole? Possibly not.
It's very true indeed. You don't want to get slipstreamed all the way up there, and especially in these cars as well, it matters a little bit more. Like you said before, they don't really rely on aero that much, but they do punch a very large hole in the air to these chunky Audi RS3 LMS TCR cars. And we've got a number of them just starting their laps now. I think Chris Dane's one of the first drivers to cross the line. We do have to just reload the liveries, guys. I've had a bit of a conflict of interests between between the paints I have on my system and trading paints, so we are sorting that. We have new decal layers this week because previously the number boards didn't completely cover some of the original number boards on the cars, so my logo was put on there because we didn't have another one to put on, basically. But at the moment, you can't even read it, so it doesn't matter to many. But Chris Danes is one of the first drivers out there at the moment. You can see still pretty much on the Grand Prix circuit. Steen Ledger in the chat, is there live timing? There you go. He's actually asked, is there love timing? And yep, Bart Daleman has said it exactly how I would have said it. There is always time for love. But there is a lot of love in this championship, Peter, but there's a lot of war as well. We've seen some very good door-to-door racing this season, and I don't really think that the ring is going to calm any of them down. They're going to be just as aggressive, I reckon.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, the tensions are running pretty high in the championship right now. Mind you, everybody was kind of quietened slightly with the return of Corentin Guinez, and made a lot of the paddock kind of take a look in the mirror and have a scratch of the head going, how are we going to beat this guy? And maybe the Nürburgring will be the place to do that. But yes, I think we likened the Discord server, the kind of chat room that the drivers use in the week during in between each round. We kind of likened that to the Toka Touring Cars bus, which is where all the naughty boys go if they've been crashing into each other. There's Matt Neal and Jason Plato have life memberships as well, and Ash Sutton is the junior convener.
Oh, yeah, there it is. I was just waiting. I was thinking, how's he going to turn this into an Ash Sutton meme now? How is he gonna just sneak it in? He's just gonna have a little dig at our Ash, and there it is. But yes, in all fairness, you are right. The guys, they do take quite the regular trip to the bus. Again, I'm just sorting the liveries out, guys, so do bear with me. But yeah, you're not wrong in all honesty there, Peter. The British Touring Car Championship does have its own wonderful little bus like that, and we like to pretend that we have similar here in the Simracersworld TCR Series. Now, one of the best things that I found about whenever you commentate, especially on the Nordschleife in the sim, where there are more camera placements than you get in real life, it's trying to recognise the corners in the blink of an eye as soon as the car comes up on the screen, because some people can do it. I mean, we all know this corner. It's known as one of the many YouTube corners on the circuit, but it's not the easiest place to do that, especially, I always find, the last sort of third of the lap where the trees really close in and you're right in the forest. It all does start to look a bit similar up and down the hill, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does take hundreds, if not thousands, of miles of practice here, or of racing here, to kind of get all the reference points right. And of course, they differ from car to car. You know, you might have drivers who have a lot of experience here, but they've done it all in a GT3 car or a Porsche Cup car or something, and then they get in a touring car going, oh wait a minute, all my braking points are all over the shop. It's interesting. I never had a fantastic command of the German language at school. That subject got dropped like a hot potato. But so I could kind of take you around each corner. But goodness me, I couldn't tell you the names. There's a few. There's obviously like Carousel and Dottinger Ho and things like that. Flugplatz, I like that one. When you get a bit of a jump over there, that's very cool. And you hang on there. I tell you what, every time I go over there, I don't know why, but every time I go over there in a GT3 car on my racing, I feel like Kevin Estre. I really do. I mean, I'm not, but I feel like it. and you go over and you're whoa, no, and then you get a big bump, and then you have to sort of just fan the throttle. I mean, he would be flat, of course, he's flat everywhere. But I mean, and I'm going, oh god, and it wiggles about. I mean, it's just such an adrenaline ride, this circuit. I mean, I have to say big props to those who, of course, it's a public toll road. Effectively, you can go and pay your money and have a lap. I have to say, I don't know if I'd have the guts to take my own car onto it.
No.
Because, of course, if you've been it, it's a long walk back to the UK.
It is indeed, yeah. It certainly is. There's a famous video, actually, of... I can't remember what car he's in. I think he's in an old Ford Cougar or something, a V6 Cougar. And it's two guys, and they've got like a GoPro on the back seat, and his friend says something like, oh, is that it? We're on the ring. We're on the ring, mate. And they get through the barrier, and his mate gets... straight out, puts his foot down, lights up the rears and puts it in a wall less than 100 metres from the time he's got out. And it's just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal commitment from him, bless him. But yeah, I think Hatzenbach is probably one of my favourite corner names around here. That's one that I remember. I won't be able to tell you exactly where it is on the track without looking at a map. There's the Schwalbenschwanz section, which is the double left-hander. Oh, flipping heck. Careful, Matthias, you need them shocks for a race later. The Schwalbenschwanz section is the double left after the Stefan Beloff S, essentially. You go through the right and then the left. They're not easy names to say, and like you say, the Dottinger Ho as well. The first thing I saw of the Nurburgring when I went there last year was actually the Audi Sport Bridge at the Dottinger Ho. It was very iconic to see that poking through the trees, and it was just such an exciting moment to see.
Oh.
But I'm loving being on board right now with Matthias de Tige. And you mentioned actually, Peter, the experience that you need to have around here and have so many laps in it. I would, obviously, for anyone that hasn't seen it, the YouTuber, a good friend of mine, Steve Brown, Super GT, mainly doing laps on Gran Turismo. He's on iRacing, but not as active on here. But on Gran Turismo Sport, he actually did a charity stream over the weekend where he did 200 laps straight of the Nürburgring Nordschleife. It took him over 27 hours to complete, but he completed what is effectively the longest race you could possibly do in Gran Turismo Sport, and he raised, I believe at the time, over £25,000 for a Philippines school charity in doing so, and it was an unbelievable achievement. But he did it, and it was a genuine race as well. He wasn't just doing laps in practice on his own. He'd set it up as a race with AI and everything. And obviously he won the race, but still 200 laps of the Nordschleife, flat out. Unbelievable.
Oh, that's... Did he get Pampers to sponsor him?
Well, to be fair, he did obviously, with the beauty with Gran Turismo is that you can pause it, of course, when it's not an online race and still nip to the loo if needs be. But, you know, he was minimising that as much as possible and just eating while driving and so on. It was just, what a guy. Absolute hero. And of course now every time he goes here he's going to be sick of it.
Well, he'll know it well, that's for sure. He'll know every blade of grass. In fact, they actually, I was reading up the other week about Vic Elford, Quick Vic Elford, who had a lot of success in Porsches, but he was part of a three-man team that was entered by the Porsche Works when the first ever automatic transmission that was put in a 911. It was only about 2 or 3 years after it was launched. It was very much to suit the American market, and they ran an 84-hour race at the Nürburgring to prove that the strength of the automatic gearbox, and they won it, of course. I mean, and he said, I knew every bit of every blade of grass after that, and he'd done the majority of it in the night at the time when, I mean, this would be long before you have the spectator numbers that you have today. But yeah, it's one of those places.
84 hours. That's just, I mean, it's not even 3 days. It's 3.5, isn't it? That's just.
Yeah.
I've heard of. I can't remember what series it was. I mean, I know that the Citroen 2CVs used to do a 27-hour race or something like that at Spa, or 28 hours, and then it became 25. I think was the norm for the Fun Cup at Snetterton, because they wanted to do the longest endurance race, like longest sort of sanctioned official endurance race in the world, and they did 25 hours at Snetterton, I think it was. But then there is a series, and I can't remember who it is that does it, but they do a 48-hour race, and I think that was only until quite recently it still ran, but I'll have to have a look on that. In terms of the times at the minute, though, bearing in mind that these laps around here are 8.5 minutes, there's only 2.5 seconds covering the drivers that have done laps at the moment, and 4 of them are covered by less than a second, so it's very, very close still, the pace that these guys have got.
I mean, how does it feel? 16 thousandths of a second off at the no. I mean, that's got to sting. Poor old Miguel Freitas, he's going, you have got to be kidding me. Throw me a bone here. However, look where he is though. Look who's in front of him, Norbert Leitner. So is there a little bit of a wee bit of collaboration going on here, or is Norbert Leitner going, will you just get lost? Of course, it's not like you can back out of it and go for another lap because, well, you don't have that luxury, frankly. So, Miguel Freitas, this is very, very smart. If he can just hang on to the back of Norbert Leitner, you never know. Well, we'll see who comes out on top when they get to the end of the lap. They'll have enough time to get to the end of the lap. This will be their last flying lap. Fraser Smith 0.3 of a second off in third. And actually, you would think, oh, well, it's a half an hour race. Qualifying can't really be that important. But at the Nordschleife, it actually is, because traditional overtaking opportunities, even though the track is so long, they actually aren't that prevalent here, in fact.
Yeah, it's very true. And to be fair, I think the main aim of the game tonight is not to get caught up in traffic, because it's very easy to get stuck behind the car in front of you around here. And I think that we're going to see a lot of drivers suffering from that. But then at the same time, it's going to be a case of when do they go for a move, when do they try and break away from the car in front. And we have actually lost Corentin Guinez by the look of it. Oh, no, he's still there. He did disconnect, though, partway through his fast lap. So I don't think he's going to get a chance to do... He's not, actually, because we're using the heat racing format of iRacing sessions this evening. So when you get to the half-hour mark... That's it. You don't get a chance to finish your lap. So any drivers really that haven't started a lap in the next minute or so are really going to be up against it here, Peter. So you need to really be careful about how long it takes.
Yeah, exactly. And, well, that's going to be... Well, we can be really selfish here, Chaz. I think it's going to be very exciting to watch Corentin Guinez come from the back of the pack.
Yeah,
that's going to be amazing to watch as we see... Jürgen Knocker, I have to say, this is my favourite looking car in the whole grid, the McDonald's Mobile. I have to say, of course, we are in lockdown here in the United Kingdom at the moment, but there are certain, you can go out for a short walk, you can go out for your shopping, or you can get takeaway food. So I treat myself. I mean, it's rock and roll up here, Chaz, honestly. I treat myself once a week. I get in my car just to make... Whoa! Hold it! Yeah! Just keep it out the wall. Whoa! And, nearly. And I treat myself. I get into my little RS200 Clio, which is just not so happy in the confines of the city here. And I go to the McDonald's drive-thru and I have a cheeseburger and some chips and a Fanta. And the adrenaline rush is just... Oh, it's dizzying, honestly. At the moment, that is as exciting as it gets. Well, apart from SRW TCR, of course.
Oh, indeed. And now...
That excluded.
I want to just... I can't... There's something on the back of PJ Clayson's car. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. I'm not sure what it is. I don't want to go on chase cam because I'm not breaking the immersion. That's how picky I am. But there's faces and there's heads on the back of that car, and I can't figure out who it is. But it's Team 11 car, a livery that I very much enjoy. Certainly flows with the shape of the Audi RS3 LMS TCR GTI TDI. But it does flow well, that livery. And I tell you one thing, if there's a bit of banter on a livery, you've got to love it. We've seen a few of them over the course of our time since Simracersworld TV began. And it certainly won't be the last. Bit of damage on Louis Correa's car. And that's another factor here tonight, in all honesty, Peter. I mean, you can... there's the comical noise of every time these cars bottom out on the curbs that we got plenty of at Virginia in the first meeting of the season. But as a lot of these guys will find out tonight, it's one of those circuits where if you go off, it's kind of like Alton Park and like Brands Hatch, for example, where there's not that much grass or runoff before you hit something around here, is there?
Yeah, absolutely. It's there are no small crashes here at the Nordschleife. If you step off at all, it's usually terminal. Those walls are solid and they just eat bodywork for breakfast. We've got a busy YouTube chat tonight, Chaz. Great to hear from everyone writing in and saying hello. Now, Pete Plastow says He says, "Am I sometimes on Absolute Radio?" He's sure he heard me the other day. Well, not to my knowledge. That would be quite cool. I could read out the and now for the football results. Nobody cares.
Oh, I was hoping you'd go down that route. Is that the Chris Danes? I'm not sure how you know him as the Chris Danes, but it is Chris Danes. That's all I have an answer.
Mean all kinds of things.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm not sure if he has some illustrious career in the.
Is that the Chris Danes?
Yeah, it's either like, is that the Chris Danes that robbed a bank, or is that the Chris Danes that has a career in adult entertainment? But yeah, you never know really. It could be one end of the spectrum to the other. But that is Chris Danes. I can tell you that much. I'd love to hear if it's obviously broadcastable. Did you? Oh, you used to race him at Covcart Sport. Yes, that will be Chris Danes then. That will be Chris Danes. The Chris Danes, as you know him. Now,
so it's not Chris Danes of DTS Attorneys, Danes, Thomas and Smith LLP. It's not him.
You've not Googled him, have you?
That was a quick Google, yeah.
Fantastic. It seems that it's not at the moment, mate, but you never know if he wants to change a career. Danny Fenning, flipping heck, that curb needs to get a change of career. That's going to get old. You can see the shadows doing their thing there as well, thanks to iRacing. Danny Fenning says 1, 2, 3, and up we go, climbing up the hill. And it's this part of the circuit, just feels like it lasts forever, doesn't it, down here? And I imagine, let's listen, yeah, we'll be flat through the left-hander, but it's this part that's the interesting bit, unless you don't want to slow down for it like Danny. Look at the... I was not expecting that to go around there then. I thought we were going straight on into a wall with that. Flipping heck. That was right commitment.
Look how it's killed his run onto the straight, though. That is the most important corner on the circuit, I believe, because if you actually can sacrifice a fair bit of speed coming in to get the best drive out, because especially an underpowered car like this, where you need to get up the hill. I mean, there are certain cars in iRacing that are actually losing speed. If you're in a Miata here, it's just this like, it's like you have to drop a gear sometimes. It's like going up a really steep hill in your first car, and then of course Bravery corner there as well. It's getting the exit right out of that corner is absolutely vital. Of course, I'm coming up towards the carousel as well. I love this part where you can really lean on the brakes a lot later than you maybe think you can get away with, and it somehow pulls up, tucks in. Oh, a nice bit of rotation on the brakes there. Lovely, chuck it in.
And now, hold on, I think is the only word. Into the carousel. Now you see people jumping back out of this. Oh, he's at the inside of it. Danny Fenning. That is how you hit the inside. All right, mate, calm down. He's absolutely lighting up the front. You can feel the frustration though, because let's face it, if you aren't going on that curved bit on the inside of the carousel, you're not going the quickest way around it, are you? Because if you're on the outside, you just float all the way around it. And you just see cars. I mean, I've seen it before where a car will get out of the way for lap traffic, for example, and there'll just be a car chuck it up the inside, and just because they're on that really banked section, they'll just fly through. And I think if anybody goes for any moves here tonight, they're not going to work if they're around the outside, because let's face it, everybody is going to try and take that inside line.
Well, indeed, of course, you can be a little bit of, you can be quite cheeky and strategical there as well. If you've got a pile behind you, you can back them up. Jeepers creepers. It's qualifying, boys.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my
me.
giddy hand.
Well, I'm not sure what the situation was with the two of them. Obviously, Ryan Walker and PJ Clayson's both want the fastest lap they can. Ryan was always going to understeer wide there. It's obviously the contact's ruined his lap, so he's just chucked it at the wall, and PJ's given up as well. They'll both be a bit angry about that, but at the end of the day, it's two drivers pushing for the fastest lap they can get. Here's Beef Bourguignon with, I believe, that's Paul King right behind him. It's not, actually, is it? That's Louis Correa, I think, in the Fast Cars Go Bang, or as I put in my show reel, the Fast Cars Go on the Grass machine. Across the line goes Keanu for Flemish Sim Sports. This will be his last lap of the session, unless he has an absolute blinder and cuts off the circuit. After this, does he improve? He does not. 8:39.155. Norbert Leitner, as you can see, everybody, still fastest at the moment. Naveed Hussein is fourth. Mark Woodhouse is partway around a lap. I don't know if he's going to get it completed. Ben Hicks is just coming up to the final corners now in the Ignium Motorsport machine. Number 359. Love the noise these things make. Across the line he goes.
They are a bit parpy, I find.
Yeah, we had in the first season of this championship, the rear view cam was dubbed the Chaz Rasp cam because it was all I used to say about it is that it's a raspy little thing. Ben Hicks and Lee Bowden do their fastest laps, but they're over 10 seconds off the pace, unfortunately. Craig Schill is going to get one in. Well, he's going to complete a lap anyway. Cross the line he goes. 27 seconds off at the moment, and the thing is, you can look at that and go, oh, flipping heck, that's a long way off, but at the same time, these tenths on a lap that's 9.5 minutes, they really do add up. Jessica Myers in the Corgi Mobile, not too far off finishing a lap, although before that, Neil Stevenson is about to cross the line. And Andrew Hopley, great to see you, mate. And you, Lewis Ward, hello. Hopley says, I predict a tame Iberian winning tonight. I do too, Freitas has always been good here. And Neil Stevenson goes 24th with a 9.04.
Jessica, I hope Miguel wins so we can ask him in interview afterward what the best vintage of port is. Because he's from Porto, where all these lovely wines come from.
So you can ask him what the best vintage of port is.
We'll ask him what's the best vintage of port for a cheeky Vimto.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah, now you're the lover of Alcopops, Chaz. You'll love that. The blue wicked in port. Cheeky Vimto.
Yeah, blue wicked all day, mate, all day. Last time I had one of them though was quite a while ago, but even still, it was that much of a nostalgic moment. I actually put it on Facebook as well. Jessica Myers 16th at the minute, 8.2 seconds off the pace, just behind Michael Blake and just ahead of Mark Woodhouse. Nice mixed up order though here by the look of it. I mean, we've got Damien Owen Harris 8th. Chris Daines is up in 5th. To be fair, I say that straight after saying mixed up order. That's not really, they're not too far away from where they normally are. We've got the likes of, who hasn't done a lap, Scotty Angelo, Niles de Kuiper, Danny Fenning, Dean Timms, PJ Claysons, Jürgen Knockhart. It's only halfway round, he's not going to finish that. Corentin Guinness, Dan Mould, he's also quick as well. Scott Malcolm, he's a long-standing member of this championship, is Scott. No laps for any of those guys, so it's going to be very interesting to see him come through from further down the order, like you said, Peter. It's going to be a lot of fun, and all of a sudden, boom, gone.
Oh, Mark Woodhouse, very close to finishing his lap about, 500 metres?
Yeah, he wasn't too far off at all. It was just one or two more corners to go. So here is your grid then, everybody. Norbert Leitner on pole position from Miguel Freitas with Fraser Smith and Naveed Hussein on row 2, followed by Chris Daines and Roman Bokler. We then have Keanu Bourguignon and Damien Owen Harris with Matthias de Tige and Paul King on row 5. Then it's Anton Dupin and Mats Borg Anderson on row 6, ahead of Ryan Walker and Anders Lillejorde. We then have Michael Blake and Jessica Myers, ahead of Mark Woodhouse and Jean-Louis Deschamps. Then it's Ben Hicks and Lee Bowden on row 10, Daniele Giudici and Louis Carrera on row 11, ahead of Paul Godden and Wayne Palmer, the two teammates, on row 12. Craig Schill is alongside Neil Stevenson, ahead of champion Corentin Guinness, with Dan Mould alongside him. Then we have Scott Angelo, Niles de Kuiper, Scott Malcolm, PJ Claysons, Dean Timms, Jürgen Knockhart, and Danny Fenning. Right then. Tame Iberian to win is one of the thoughts in chat. Peter, what do you reckon?
Well, that's who could argue with that? But I think Fraser Smith's been knocking on the door for the whole meeting. I think he's coming here with a point to prove, is Fraser, and yeah, I've got my eye on that number 4 Full Send racing car.
Well, there's only one way to find out, everybody. Naveed Hussein's internet is saying pick me in 4th place. Keep an eye on Roman Bokler as well. Starting 6th on the grid, he's quick. Chris Daines will be sure to make an attack early on. Great to see Chris back racing again. I had a wonderful chat with him in the week as well. He was very pleased that I'd noticed the fact that he had come back, and he's come back strong as well. He's got a really good team behind him with Eclipse. He doesn't manage the team, as I wrongly pointed out previously, but yeah, he's had a very, very strong comeback to sim racing, and it's good to see Chris back on the grid. We should be getting going any second now. We're just waiting for Scott Malcolm. He's probably getting himself a port.
Move on, Malcolm.
Here we go. Doesn't look like Scott's going to take to the grid. Maybe just starting in the pits to play it safe. But round 7 of the Simracersworld TCR Series from the Nurburgring is underway. Rather anticlimactic start, in all honesty, isn't it, when they don't rev up like that, but they don't feel the need to. Chris Daines moves over on Roman Bokler. I said he was going to attack off the start. I didn't quite mean like that, mate. Let's have a look what happens here. Zoom out a little bit, get a bit of shenanigans on the screen. 3 wide further down. That's Ryan Walker, Michael Blake in there as well, just in front. Anton Dupin on the inside in the Flemish Sim Sports machine. Roman Bokler is still close now. Look at that. Damien Owen Harris is out to go off the circuit as he looks down the inside of Chris Daines. 2x2 in the middle, down the inside. Nice stuff from Damien. Let's have a look further back in the pack. What have we got? Daniele Giudici's off. Oh, Daniele kisses the wall, knocks some of the sim stickers off it. He broke the front left there, I think. It just was not behaving itself, was it?
He will still be smiling, though. You can guarantee that.
Oh, God, yeah. He's the happiest
man in racing. Yes.
He is fantastic. We'll have a quick look at what happens. Let's face it, we've got a while. There's a bit of a... as he drives into the back of Guinez. And it's just broken it, hasn't it? It just won't turn. Won't turn whatsoever. Naveed Hussein, by the way, is up into third place. He's got Fraser Smith looking down the inside. Oh, you don't want the back end to snap away there. But straight away, Peter, they are on the attack as we knew they would be.
Yeah, of course, you can't let you've kind of got to get forward as quickly as you can if you can absolutely help it, because like for example, Fraser Smith here, every corner he spends behind Naveed Hussein, you can see Miguel Freitas and Norbert Leitner clearing off into the distance. He really needs to stay in touch with them to be in contest for this win. It will be a 4-lap race here in this one, so it's going to be that might not sound much, but at the Nordschleife that's a heck of a way to keep the car clean. To not put it in the barrier in those 4 laps is mighty impressive to do that. So brilliant start from Norbert Leitner from the Hungarian. Now on my screen, I don't know if it's coming up on yours, Chaz, Norbert's ditched his green wheels. Normally you can spot Norbert's car a mile off because of his bright green or bright greeny yellow wheels, but they're not back to the traditional silver now.
Yeah,
that's certainly what it says on mine anyway.
Yeah, no, I like that. It's a bit more subtle, suits the livery a little bit more. Maybe he's gone down a more professional route, although I'm not saying that green wheels isn't, but it just suits it a little bit better. Now, let's not speak about, I think it's Brian Loynes that always runs the bright yellow liveries in Simracersworld, Formula 3 and other leagues for sim stickers. But this attack by Fraser Smith, Naveed Hussein's doing a great job already to have held on for this long. Let's face it, it's what, 2 minutes 45 seconds in, so that's already a normal lap. Oh, Wayne Palmer's had a massive one. Oh, dear me, that's not the place you want to go off down there. It's a scary bit of track.
That is probably one of the most dangerous parts on the circuit in sim and in the real world, because it's just so fast. You're just at the top of top gear, you get onto the grass, and there's not much of a gravel trap, is there? It's a bit more of just a token gesture, that gravel trap.
Yeah, it is indeed.
It's never slowing anything down.
No, there's some very famous footage of a Renault Megane, I think it was an RS, going over the crest of the hill, and it sort of breaks away and it like backflips along the wall down there on a track day like multiple times, and it's a massive accident. Apparently the driver got out of it. I don't mean to sound crude, but I don't know how, because it was just an almighty accident. But when you do have one down there, it is going to be a big. And Corentin Guinez has just gone off the circuit. He's having a little fight here with Mark Woodhouse. Manages to carry the speed around the outside there. We've seen that about Guinez, haven't we? He just manages to carry speed where other drivers just don't seem to be able to.
Yeah, he's just got that little bit extra, hasn't he? We've seen it. One thing that kind of really... Well, we were talking about Ash Sutton earlier. He's a guy who could do that as well. He can take quite what would seem peculiar lines, but could really make it work. Oh, Chris Daines. The Chris Daines is in the wall.
Oh, heck. He's had an incident.
My.
That was that Keanu Bourguignon. Bourguignon's had an incident with him there. What has gone on here? So,
yep, he's T-boned Beef Bourguignon.
Oh, down the hill. It's so easy to do that. It's so easy to go in too hot. Oh, Chris hasn't left the room, I'm afraid. I
don't think he had control of that vehicle at that particular point, I'll be honest.
Yeah, as soon as it overspeeds into there, I mean, it's downhill, isn't it? He's gone off. So Bourguignon, to be fair to Bourguignon, he goes almost as far over to the right as he can, but yeah, as soon as the car gets any grip, obviously you've got to bear in mind that Chris, he was on the grass, and suddenly the car grips as it gets to the tarmac, and he's just right hand down straight into the side of Keanu Bourguignon. It's a real shame, and it's gapped this top 6 now, but Fraser Smith right in the heat of it, still trying everything on Naveed Hussein, still looking wherever he can now. Naveed Hussein's actually having a look at Miguel Freitas. They're on the brakes into the very scary fast left-hander that I still don't know the name of and probably should, but I mean, that's another place where you've really got to have the fruits, haven't you, to chuck it in there.
Yeah, watch German for diarrhea. Yeah, that's yeah, that's probably something close. Now, do you remember, Chaz, the deal I made? If Naveed Hussain won the race in the poor shirt car, I would wear the dodgy shirt and do something which I really don't enjoy, is an on-stream webcam with the shirt on. I did say I would do it, and he's in the hunt. I'm getting nervous.
He is as well. Listen. Can you hear that? Listen to him just.
I tell you what that's like, Chaz. That's like the double yellow line outside a fancy school where there's Cayennes, X5s, Range Rovers, etc., all simultaneously scraping their alloy wheels up the curb.
And then there's always that one dad who, just because he's got like a Kia crossover, he thinks he's got a Range Rover as well. Just because he's high up, he pretends that he's all like high and mighty and he thinks he's got a very expensive car. But I totally agree. You know, everybody just bouncing off the curbs, bottoming out around the carousel. Fantastic sounds. It sounds like a sort of international like pram convention as they all just scrape along and squeak their way round the Nordschleife Gesamtstrecke. Corentin Guinez displaces Jessica Myers. We know Jessica won't take that line down because very feisty indeed is this one. The feisty corgi. And Porsche Sport in the chat, great to see you again. How many Porsches? I don't know.
Of course, there are quite a lot of historical connections between Audi and Porsche. In fact, while we have a lull in the action, I can tell you a little story. Well, goodness me, I say lull in the action. Norbert Leitner, he's checked out. Where's he off to? He's gone.
He's nearly back in the arena section. Oh, this is the thing now. Naveed Hussain is putting fantastic pressure on Miguel Freitas, and I must admit, actually, there's a little detail on that Ignium livery there that I have never seen anybody do before that I think is genius. Where you've got that dip in the bonnet, where the vent is, they've actually got the driver's name in said vent, so it points forward, and on a rear view camera you can tell who it is. That's brilliant.
Oh, like the ambulance, around the wrong way.
Yeah, they should have put the name the other way around, so it shows differently in the camera. Oh, in the background, Damien Owen Harris. He's just got past Roman Beauclerc, but they're onto the Dottinger, so that's not going to stay the same. Naveed Hussain, though, let's have another look at that. Just above where the Ignium logo is on the bonnet of that car, you should be able to see it. It says N. Hussain. That's fantastic, that. That's great branding and great awareness of how the livery works from whoever did the Ignium cars. I mean, they're fantastic looking machines at the best of times. But look at this. The speed they're doing here, we'll show you. 240 Ks they're going to be doing on the way down the hill. And Niles M in the chat, he says, that was my idea, and I very much approve of that idea. Now, this is going to get smoky. I squeezed my mouse then when they did that. That was a very, very tense moment. Fraser Smith gets a mega run, but can't do anything with it. Onto the back of Freitas. No, Anders Lilly-Jourdain's had an incident side by side. That's the 26. Oh, and we've got Anton Dupin, the 14's around as well. Luckily, the guys coming up the hill there slowed it down, although there's another off. PJ Clayson's is off on his way back up the hill. Anton Dupin's still off the circuit. These guys just need to wait. Don't get back on the track, boys. I'm sorry, but you need to wait for everyone to go through before you do anything. But that's such a shame to see. Anders Lilly-Jourdain went off. Jessica Myers, I think, was involved. Oh, Corentin Guinez is in there as well. Oh, Anders got a smack. He got hit from the 26. Dupin got so unlucky there. That's a massive, massive accident. Jessica Myers ended up going through it, but I think got damage in the melee.
Guinez involved there as well. A bit of bump drafting from Guinez, and
I think I think Anders just turns across, unfortunately. Doesn't really leave enough room on the inside. Now I want to find out what happened to PJ Clayson's as well. I think maybe PJ. Oh heck, you don't want to be doing this, boys. And they're moving around. Oh, it was always going to happen. You don't go three wide.
That was an Egg McMuffin, that.
Oh, you just don't do it down there, boys. There's no. This is the thing, you know. We had this last time out at Bathurst. I always say that you don't need to make it three wide. You don't need to force the issue like that. You want to be a hero and you want to look good, go for it. But it's not going to pay off, is it? Let's face it. Now, these two, Naveed Hussain and Fraser Smith, still joined at the hip. But they've cleared Miguel Freitas now, and Norbert Leitner must be seeing that and thinking, oh, heck.
Possibly, yeah, possibly. I think at least Norbert's got to try and lay down the best sectors he possibly can to try and break what would be the draft when they get to a longer straight. That's what he's got to try to do. If he can get to the long straights where he would be vulnerable as the leader with enough of a gap, enough of a margin where the draft isn't playing in effect, then he's done his job. Then he can try and control the race from there. Just gone on past lap 1 with 3 laps to go, so still a fair amount of time left to go in this race. So this is his opportunity to try and break away, and perhaps Fraser Smith trying to get past Naveed Hussain, which he pops to the outside here, and he'll get the inside into this cambered right-hander when they come around this really fast left, and Naveed sees it coming. Very, very clever. Hooks it into the inside, and Fraser's got nowhere to go. Little bit of a rub and tumble there from Fraser Smith. So again, that is all playing into the hands of Norbert Leitner. Now, we haven't seen any really bad behaviour so far in this race, Chaz, but we have in the YouTube chat, the Phoenix Wild has said, is there going to Bob?
No, Naveed. Well, you don't have to worry about wearing that shirt anymore, Peter, but he's going to come back on. Whoo, Damien Owen Harris. I think he got out of that. Wow. Good avoidance there, to be fair. We've got Neil Stevenson, Scott Angelo and Ben Hicks just having a scrap, but yeah, feel free to continue, Peter. Sorry, mate.
This would make you want to turn the car straight left and crash. The Phoenix Wild has said, will there ever be a front-wheel drive Porsche ever on the cards?
Oh, Ethan.
I hope not. Oh, God.
Oh,
no.
Ethan, please, no.
Dear, oh dear.
Don't put that in our heads, mate.
Oh,
do you want to go get the sick bag,
reflux, or I just feel a bit ill. Sorry.
It's all the whiskey. Damien Owen Harris in 4th place with Roman Buckler. Oh God, here we go. And well, here we go. Roman Buckler kissing the grass there with Naveed Hussain, who, to be fair, is still in this fight. We'll have a quick look at what happened to Naveed. I think he just went in a little bit hot at the top of the hill. Back end got away. How many teams have you seen that? Oh, it was on the bounce. The bounce on the curb. And he gets away with a little kiss on the wall, to be fair, and that was so lucky when he came back across there. The guys behind did an amazing job at making sure there was no contact. They're just pushing so hard, and Freitas ran a bit wide there, and he's going to lose out a bit. I'll say a bit. Damien Owen Harris has already cleared him. They're 2x2 round the left. The camber helped them get a lot of grip there. Roman Beauclerc looks down the inside. Fraser is not in this battle. It's Freitas, obviously. Shut up, Chaz. Still side by side. Now Naveed is going to force the issue here. He likes to try and push forward. I'm wondering, he's not going to make it 3 wide, obviously, but yeah. Oh, it's not even 2 wide now. A little bit of an overlap there, but like you say, Peter, this is one of the main parts of the circuit when it comes to keeping the momentum, isn't it? If you're in a chase, you don't want to get stuck behind here, but at the same time, if you go for a move, it can be very, very dangerous, especially in these cars.
Yeah, this is really got to just try and hang on for dear life. That's what makes the Nordschleife what it is. But what I want to point out, Fraser Smith has just torn that gap apart between himself and Norbert Leitner. As soon as he got clean air, he's all over the back of him, Chaz. This is absolutely exceptional stuff from Fraser Smith to get onto the back of Leitner so quickly. So we're game on at the front, and they are well clear of the chasing pack, who are now engaged in a melee with one another. Yeah,
I think if Fraser was a boxing clever racing driver at this point, he would just work with Leitner. Don't keep trying to battle him. Don't keep trying to go for moves. You'd stay behind until the last time you go down the Dottinger Hoe, wouldn't you? Get yourself right up behind him for most of the lap. Maybe put the pressure on. If he makes a mistake, he makes a mistake. But get yourself within a second. Have a little bit of a slingshot ready. So maybe back off through the left-hander beforehand, you know, the second little carousel. Make sure you've got enough of a slingshot to get past down the Dottinger Hoe, and then put yourself into the race lead, and job done, to be honest. Ethan's come back in the YouTube chat and said, Chaz, you drink Blue Wicked, so I think that's worse than a potential front-wheel drive Porsche. So, yeah. Touche, mate. Yeah, you win, Ethan. You win. Now, Naveed Hussain, I think he's going to be doing similar to what I just mentioned there. You know, he's going to assess what happens in this battle in front and just have a go down the long straight, although doing that's not going to help. It's difficult to know what these drivers are thinking at these points, isn't it? Because there's so many strategies you could go for, and it's not always going to work. I just want to mention as well, if you look at the gains on the left-hand side, Corentin Guinez is up to 9th position. It's not the most extravagant of runs through the field, but he's just done it well. Dan Mulder's gained 12 places. Scott Angelo for Simtech Racing has also gained 12. So has Dean Timms, and so has Danny Fenning. So some of these guys having a mega run through. Obviously at the benefit of some incidents for other drivers as well, but even so, you've got to be in it to win it, haven't you?
You do indeed, yeah. And I think here the Nordschleife, it's all about minimising the mistakes. It's not so much about absolute blistering pace. If you make little mistakes here and there, they certainly add up. You really pay for them here at the Nordschleife because it's so fast. I can't think of any slow corners, certainly not in the Nordschleife section. They're all got at least a little bit of momentum required for them. So you can't afford to make those little errors because you will be significantly punished for them. But on they go to the Dottinger Hole once more. Matthias de Tige has done a great job. He's sort of, while they've been battling in front, he's done some real hard work throughout this lap and moved up onto the back of this pack. Now look at the front. Fraser Smith, well, he's going for it, Chaz. He's popped out. He's going for it. And Norbert Leitner might think, okay, my turn. I'll hook in the caravan and have a. And I tell you what, this could be quite good for Norbert Leitner as well to see where Fraser's quick, where he's maybe slower, and but they're going to go too wide into the S's. Either that maybe. Oh God, on here.
Man.
Whoa. That was tough. That was really tough.
That was, to be fair, good stuff from Fraser to realise that Norbert wasn't going to back out of that. There's a battle still going on behind Navid Hussein and Freitas. Oh, come on, boys, Freitas. He just can't catch a break, can he, Miguel Freitas? And now Matthias de Tige, one of my favourite drivers in this league. I know I shouldn't be biased as a commentator, but Matthias is just very exciting to watch all the time. He's got involved in this now, so this battle is only going to get better as this race continues.
He's got Chaslington stickers on.
He does, yes. There's nothing to do with the fact he's my favourite. He's just always been an exciting driver. It's just, yeah, he's always been quick as Matthias. And when he was teammates with Gregory Ranks in previous seasons, the two of them were completely inseparable on track. They always flew in formation in the Simracersworld esports cars, side by side with Freitas.
He's now got a rankless task.
Well, to be fair, Gregory Ranks, while Matthias has got that 130R sticker on the back, Matthias' teammate Gregory Ranks usually runs a BMW sticker on the back of his Audi, just in complete irony. So it's a shame not to see Gregory out there, unfortunately, but hopefully see him back in the championship very soon. Now, Corentin Guinez has got Mats Borg Anderson for company in the Sharebox TC Motorsport car, 10th at the moment. Mats Borg Anderson also competing in the Scandinavian GT Series, which I've been given the very, very delightful pleasure of broadcasting on my own channel. And he's done all right in that as well. And, I mean, this Sharebox car looks fantastic anyway. I love an asymmetrical livery. But they have it on the Mercedes-AMG GT3 as well, and that is a really good-looking car. Fraser Smith, though, I've just realised this. I just saw it pop up on here. So this was the move earlier, which is evidently me admitting that I've got the wrong one. He's actually gone and done it again down into turn 1, Peter.
Well, this is certainly a very good opportunity. It's a very long braking zone downhill. As you can see, you're banging down the gearbox, trying to get it tucked in, trying to get it slowed down. And tell you what, Fraser's got a lot of pace in hand. I wonder if he's maybe going to try and stretch Norbert Leitner here, perhaps, Chaz. He certainly didn't waste any time in closing Norbert down. But let's see if, of course, 2 laps to go now. We'll see if he can manage that. It's Norbert certainly not letting him away right now, but the pace that Fraser's shown so far, who knows?
Yeah, I think the around the twisty section, the last sort of third of the lap, or maybe even the middle third, I'd say Fraser's been really, really quick there. He did the fastest lap of the race last time round, but look at this run by Norbert Leitner. He's still putting the pressure on. Don't forget the two of them came together with Damien Owen Harris at Bathurst last time out, so there's still a little bit of unfinished business maybe here between these two, but for a race win, I know that the pair of them will be playing it a little bit safer and just making sure that they don't do anything silly. But we both know how much these guys want the win. Norbert Leitner and Fraser Smith, both already winners in this championship, so they've tasted the virtual champagne anyway. I imagine it doesn't taste very good. Maybe a bit like sparkling water. It's just TV static. But, Norbert got very close then a bit later on the brakes. And this is the thing, like you said, Peter, I think you're right. It's Norbert's chance to see where Fraser's quicker than him, see how Fraser's car is behaving, maybe just how he's working it, and then just try and take advantage of that. You know, he's got the slipstream to help keep him there, so this is observation. This is reconnaissance time for Norbert Leitner.
That's exactly right, yeah, and of course he appears to be able to run a close enough pace to Fraser where he's absolutely in the right spot. However, although they are significantly further behind, this secondary pack here of Damien Harris, Naveed Hussain, Roman Bokler, Matthias de Tige, and Miguel Freitas, and I wonder how long it'll take till Guinez gets onto the back, and maybe the latter part of the final lap. But they are not out of this win either. It would just take the slightest little bit of contact between Smith and Leitner, and they're both done. You know, and there appears to be. You know, like in Mario Kart, we talk about Mario Kart every week. That must be something to do with touring cars. The you know, in Mario Kart, that power up you get, it's like a bomb. It's like a TNT bomb, and you throw it, and there's a slight delay, and then it explodes everywhere. Well, it's in that slight delay. I feel that this grenade is about to explode at some point, because you look at their Leitner is, you know, just going. Well, he is doing the full Audi following distance. He's certainly doing the M6 motorway tactics. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he just needs to flash the lights and get the Bluetooth out, doesn't he? But and his sort of rip-off Poundland Glade air freshener on the one of the vents. But it's empty as well. But in all honesty, I think you're right. I mean, we've had Bart Daleman just confirm it in chat that Fraser had a post-race penalty for the incident at Bathurst, but I think with the commitment we saw from Norbert Leitner at the end of the Dottinger Ho last time, I think now that Fraser's in front, he thinks he's going to be the guy that's going to be the one that can demand that track position. But I think Norbert's still going to go for that. You know, he had great commitment, and I think we're going to see that again. But you never know with these drivers. Expect the unexpected. We often do. And like Peter said, this lot could end up being the top 5 in the race if anything should happen. So we're sitting on the gold mine of unknowns at the moment. Ryan Walker is side by side with Mark Woodhouse. Ryan's never been short on commitment in this championship. Gets it done before the fast left. Now Mark's going to try and get a cutback. A little bit of contact between the two. Ryan's a little bit off the circuit. Continues though, still side by side. Oh, you do not want to make contact there, boys. Oh, these drivers are fearless. Either that or they're mental, but yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
How close do you like it? Now look at this. Lee Bowden there he's lost his rear wing. He's gone to touring spec.
Yeah, he's gone to the low downforce package here for the Nordschleife. I imagine it'll be quick down the Dottinger Ho, but to be fair, with what's left of the front of it, I don't really think that that'll balance out very well into a very quick race car. Norbert Leitner's just, he's had a moment. Decides that he wants to get rid of the exhaust along the curbs. But it is an interesting chase here, Peter, because while the slipstream will still be there, well, if Norbert doesn't drop any further away, Fraser is gapping him. But like I said, it's this twisty bit at the last part of the lap here. Fraser just seems to have this down, doesn't he?
He does at this moment, but this is the thing, is that Norbert Leitner could be not sandbagging, but could just be keeping his ace card up his sleeve. He's playing the Hurley Haywood tactics. Hurley Haywood always used to say, he said he had no problem letting the other drivers head out in front and, you know, tire themselves out and not, you know, do all the hard work, and then he would just let that 5% he'd been keeping in reserve go at the last moment and would go by. We saw actually in the MotoGP world, Marquez really developing that tactic in the last couple of years and really developing it very well. So Norbert Leitner could just be keeping his powder dry here, maintaining that last little bit of tyre life. And of course, as we said, do you want to lead on to the Dottinger Ho? Possibly not. But no. If there's woes, Danny Fleming said Fennings had a bit of an issue. By a bit of an issue, slamming into the wall. But if there's going to be, you know, can Norbert pull away from Fraser? I wouldn't say so. Can Fraser pull away from Norbert? There's a small chance of that. So I think they're both in two different positions, I think.
Yeah, definitely. As we are onto the Dottinger Ho once again. for the penultimate time in this race. 2 races this evening. And look at that. Closing. We're on board with Norbert. Fraser's doing 2:34. Norbert's doing he's doing 240 to 50. It's blinking in and out. Great overspeed because he came from a bit further back than Fraser did. That's the main difference. People always say about getting a slipstream and they start right behind the car in front. Look at that. Norbert's cleared him before they get to the S's, puts the car in a really strong position. Nicely defended there. Fraser gets out of it. And Norbert takes the lead. But we saw last time, didn't we, Peter? You can still get enough of a run down this Grand Prix straight to take that back again.
Yep, absolutely. So maybe, has Norbert Leitner gone too early there? Possibly. I mean, to be honest, you would actually have to really short shift quite dramatically and blend out the throttle quite a lot to not go by there, because of course the draft is so strong. But Fraser, gee whiz, he's very strong on the brakes there into turn 1 and clearly keen to snap straight back Troy Baylor style and get past Norbert Leitner, but not able to do it just yet. So this is going to be really intriguing, this lap. It's a tactical battle. Someone in the chat mentioned earlier on about a game of chess. They're absolutely right, and that's not chess. That's not even tiddlywinks. Yeah, you sunk my battleship.
It was a bit careless from Lee Bowden. I mean, Neil came back on, yeah, but straight over to the other side of the circuit, and then Lee did do a bit over the top to chuck it that way round, and unfortunately that's been the end of both of their races. And it looks a bit of a sorry sight there, isn't it, in the pit lane. Now this is still going on. Detij is actually making his way through this group, little by little. He's got Roman Bokler in the 22 to his right-hand side. Miguel Freitas just waiting in the wings behind. And look at that, Bokler is committed enough to go side by side through the chicane. Oh, a bit of a touch. Detij loses out. And to be fair, that was really
the Chaz stickers.
Oh, I'll kick his head in. No, I'm joking. I didn't actually mean for that to come out. I'm sorry, everyone. But, it was good commitment by Roman.
Chaz Draycott there.
Yeah. Oh, well, people can see that later because we're doing a meme race on my my YouTube channel about half an hour after this broadcast will finish. With the Pontiac Solstice at Monza combined. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But yes, the very unprofessional part of me will come out there. Hussein will be happy though, because he's cleared these guys, but he won't be happy about the fact that Damien's cleared him. Damien's actually run a really clean race so far. It's probably one of the only cars in this sort of top 5, maybe even top 10, without any marks on it. It looks great.
Indeed, and of course that means, we mentioned it earlier, any problem at all for Leitner and Smith, and we talked about that grenade. Look how close they're running. Any issue at all, and Damien's right on top of them. So as we see, we're looking back now at Fraser Smith. He's got a good run here, and we've seen any chance he's got, he's just decided to just go by. And I suppose that's one way to do it, isn't it, Chaz? He clearly feels he's got a lot of pace under that car. Just go for it, but you could really... Oh, hang on! Oh, who's that on the inside? Was that... Oh, I think it was maybe just a bit of internet connection there, but I thought there was a car stopped on the inside, but... Oh, dearie me. Norbert Leitner did very well to keep Fraser behind. And this is, again, for Norbert Leitner, could he be keeping, could he just be trying to get in Fraser's head a wee bit, just trying to keep him behind, just trying to just balk him wherever possible and try and make him, make an irrational move? That may be his thinking. It's just that it's such a psychological battle we're seeing here as they come around. This is one of the fastest, probably the fastest corner on the circuit. Fraser just gets out onto, not the marbles, but just off the slightly grippier part there, and had to give best. And Norbert used the camber well there. He missed the traditional apex, but there's plenty of camber there to let you get away with it. It
was great commitment by Leitner to continue that. Fantastic stuff from Fraser to try around the outside as well. You could see him just moderating the brakes, just balancing the car all the way around that corner. Fantastic commitment from the pair of them, and they're still both on circuit, and they've both still got both wing mirrors as well. And to be fair, I said about Damien Owen Harris's car not having any knocks on it. These are probably the 2 cleanest cars in the field right now. Neil Stevenson, who of course had that incident before, has gone off track here for a moment. He's come out of the pits after his... Oh no, it bounces around at the bottom of the hill, and I think he might have hit the wall after that. He maybe avoided it though. It was very, very slow speed through there. Mark Woodhouse is still battling with Ryan Walker. Corentin Guinness is up to 9th, but he's still, 4 seconds off the back of... Actually, 1.4 seconds off the back of Keanu Bourguignon. So Corentin Guinez doing a great job to get himself some more points. Look at how hard Mark Woodhouse is trying, though. The stud muffin, as he's called at Team Mad. He is working overtime in this Audi to get past Ryan Walker, who, in all fairness, he's having a great race.
Absolutely, yeah. Ryan is doing really well in the 555 machine, and big props for running the 555. Of course, that name is synonymous with Colin McRae and the Subaru World Rally team of the mid-90s. That was their sponsor, 555 cigarettes as well. British American Tobacco. That's why the number plate was L555BAT. So there you go. There you go. There's a bit of pointless trivia for you. That's my speciality. But yeah, certainly I don't recall seeing any on camera anyway, Chaz. But Leitner and Smith have not traded any paint at all up to now, and they've run in really close formation as they head up towards the carousel section on Fraser. Well, they call it Bravery Corner. He thought about it, and then he thought, no, that's a 0% or no chances that going on.
No, indeed, you've got to have your wits about you there. Look at these guys, and to be fair, Freitas did a great job through there then, because he ran very close to the wall on the right-hand side, used the AstroTurf to his the best of its ability, chucked the car in and got a really nice line on the way out. Now Naveed Hussein blinking in and out a little bit there. It's not going to help Matthias Tij's charge forward. Walker and Woodhouse still completely glued together. Looks like Woodhouse's car's been used for things that are unimaginable. Very, very damaged front end on that car. It's certainly been used as a battering ram. Maybe not intentionally. Whoa, hello. Bit of grass there, but
Audi RS3, one of the most stolen cars in the UK. So there you go.
Drive it like you stole it, Mark.
Yeah.
Right then. So not too long left to go. We've got 2 of these races tonight, don't forget, everybody. So this is the final lap. Damien Owen Harris had a moment. Look at that coming into view there in the air. That was brilliant. Certainly making the most of it is Damien. Going to get some good points for this one. But Norbert Leitner, he's going to want to pretend to make a mistake here. If he was me, or if I was him, let's say, he wouldn't want to be me, let's face it. I would, oh no, I've run wide, and see if Fraser goes for it, then try and get him back in the Dottinger Hoe. Although, we've seen that down the pit straight again, I can't remember whether he had him by the line last time, you know. I wonder if we can, let's just try and get... He didn't get him by the line, did he, last time? So, no. He won't. If he leaves it until then, he won't be able to do it. Oh, way up. Manages to recover there, does Jean-Louis Deschamps. I need to keep an eye on this, though. I love the fact that we get to watch so much action from further down the order, but this is... Oh, Fraser attacks the curbs. This is the moment now, isn't it, Peter? This will decide the race. How aggressive do you think this is going to get between the 2 guys that had an accident last time out?
Yeah, you've got to think that's playing on their mind. Of course, Fraser, as we mentioned, given a penalty for incident responsibility of that crash at Bathurst heading up towards Quarry Bend. But we are heading into the final part of this first race of the evening, and Norbert Leitner is going to lead onto the Dottinger Hoe. Will he lead at the critical point when the checker flag is shown? Will we see a draft? Will we see a double draft? We shall wait and see. It's going to go down to the Dottinger Hoe here. Oh, under that Audi Sport bridge. Well, oh, interesting.
Now he's saying, I know what you're going to try here. Right, he's made 1 move, 2 moves. That's it. That's only fair. He hasn't done both of them to block him, so in defence, I'd say he made 1 move there. Obviously it was 2, but, you know, one of them wasn't really defending to block Fraser. Fraser goes through into the race lead with a handful of corners to go. Norbert moves back over very aggressively. Now, we saw Norbert commit around the outside earlier. Is he going to do it again? There's a car's width. Come on, boys. We have had this chat. We have had this chat. There's a white line. That's track limits. Now, can Norbert get a really good run out of this final corner? Or is Fraser Smith going to hold on? I think he is, you know. Norbert's going to flash the lights across the line, but Fraser Smith is going to win the first race of the evening for Full Send Racing. What a fantastic display by the pair of them, though. Damien Owen Harris is going to get a podium very much on his own at the end, and Matthias de Tiege managed to chip his way through this pack, Peter. He ended up in 5th. What a great drive that is. And Guinez has beaten Bourguignon to the line, so 8th place from 27th on the grid. Mega stuff by Corentin Guinez.
That's very impressive from the young Frenchman, and of course with the reverse grid, He will start pretty close to the front of the pack for race 2, so got to be the favourite for race 2. But I would think if Fraser Smith will be there to give him a run for his money as we get Ryan Walker and Mark Woodhouse over the line, and Ryan holds off a rampant Mark Woodhouse. Great drive from Ryan to hold that position.
Yeah, really, really strong stuff. I want to have a quick look back at the. I know we've still got these cars crossing the line. There's quite a lot of them to go. We've still got some guys about halfway around the lap. Daniele Giudici just coming into the carousel. He will be the last car to cross the line. Craig Schill has got Danny Fenning just behind him. Danny's actually gained 11 places over the course of this race. He's had a mega drive so far. We'll see what happens with these two as they get to the very end. But then I want to have a look back. You can see the tyre mark on the grass there. Norbert Leitner. I don't know if there was enough room, and Norbert obviously had to get out of it, didn't he? It was touch and go, but it was very, very close racing. To be fair, the pair of them were following each other at the front so closely all the way throughout, weren't they? And Craig Schill there, finishing ahead of Danny Fenning. Danny with no mirrors on that car, to be fair. So he drags what's left of it across the line. Awesome stuff. Mega first race of the evening, though. I thoroughly enjoyed that one. What did you make of it?
Oh, that was a cracking finish. Well, here's a replay of it. Of course, Leitner's gone to the inside. Fraser right around the outside as well. So they're so close in pace. Fraser's got a bit of the overspeed from the earlier draft. Leitner spots that, goes behind into the draft, heading up towards the final S's as well. So Leitner's got another run. So he's got the rerun basically as well. And I'm saying nothing. I'm not being the amateur steward. I know you enjoy that, Chaz, but I'm leaving that. Have fun with that one, Bart.
I get myself too involved. At the end of the day,
you take the bait every day.
I do. I'm so bad. I'm so bad for it. I'm a consumer's dream. But Fraser Smith, very, very strong performance there. I mean, you said it at the start, didn't you? He was definitely the candidate to win that based on his pace alone. And he certainly made it work. And, I mean, as soon as they got away from some of the guys near the sort of top 5, he was just gone. He destroyed that gap to Norbert Leitner. And the two of them did a good job working together in a way, not to actually get caught up by everybody else, didn't they?
Yeah, I think they just had better pace, really, because it was interesting. Any time Fraser got an opportunity to move into the lead, he was more than happy to do so. There was no faffing around behind Norbert. He went by, and actually, to be honest, for speaking very selfishly, that made up for a much more entertaining race, because although it's a good strategy for the following driver to just sit there and keep the life in the tyre and not stress things out too much and then pounce at the end, it doesn't make for the most exciting motorsport sometimes. So Fraser certainly gave us some entertainment, and he's always there getting himself involved with the leading fight, and that's what you got to do. Oh, definitely. There are so many drivers that, like you say, it's always good to see them playing the sensible game, and you get to explain the mind games as a commentator as to what's going on in the race. But at the same time, we all love it. I mean, you and I, as big fans of the BTCC, we love those drivers that just go out there and don't give one. They'll just absolutely send it lap after lap. If there's a battle in front of them, if there's a car that can be overtaken, they won't hang back. And that's Daniele Giudici flashing the lights. And as we said previously, there is an angry flash of the lights and a happy flash of the lights. And I think from Daniele, that is always going to be a happy flash of the lights. But it is that time for the warm-up session ahead of the second race of the evening. So a bit of downtime, essentially. And I'm not really sure that with a 10-minute session, or is it a 10-minute session? I think Bart actually gave us an update earlier. Let me just have a quick check for you, everybody. Live on air doing this. We'll do it live. We also have the top 20 reversed in race 2 instead of the top 12. I believe that we do still have just a 10-minute warm-up session though, Peter. So not too long for these drivers. If anything, it is just a lap, essentially. We've got Neil Stevenson, who is in the pits. Well, I think that was probably just the car being repaired from that massive incident he had earlier on. But either way, Peter and I are just going to have just a few minutes here on the Simracersworld TV. The cars will get picked up when they do go out on track. But if you give us 5 minutes or so, we'll take a quick break here in the commentary box and we will be right back with you.
Thank you for your patience there, everybody. Here we are on Simracersworld TV for the Simracersworld TCR Series. Chaz Draycott here with Peter MacKay. And Peter, to be fair, it's felt like a very, very long race indeed. Of course, nearly half an hour, nearly 35 minutes in fact. But 4 laps of the Nordschleife is not anything to be sniffed at. And I think we saw some phenomenal racing out there. We saw a couple of incidents here and there, but who can say that you do not expect that around here? It's so tight, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I have to say that was one of the best races I've seen around the Nordschleife for quite a while. With great entertainment from both Fraser Smith and Norbert Leitner, that's for sure. You know, often you do sometimes see one driver just go off and dominate because the Nordschleife is that sort of challenge where when you just get in a zone, not that I've been told, yeah, when you just get in a zone and, you know, there's sometimes you could just drive for hours at that speed and there's no one else who can match it. And that was, well, it turned out we had 2 guys like that. Now for the second race of the evening, we're going to have Corentin Guinez not starting at the back, starting well in the pack, and I think that could change things. Now, is Corentin going to drive off with it like he does elsewhere? I'd be very surprised if he does, to be honest. I think Fraser's up for this one. He'll be buoyed by that win. He'll be full of confidence, and Norbert Leitner, on the other hand, will be very much up for it. And also, don't forget that Norbert Leitner and Corentin Guinez are teammates at HM Engineering, and if they get away in a 3-car pack, well, I'd rather have an ally than an enemy, shall we say? That's
very true indeed. We will go back over the results of the first race, just so you can see them here. So Fraser Smith won from Norbert Leitner, Damien Owen Harris third. Then it's Matthias Tige, Roman Bokler, Naveed Hussein, Miguel Freitas. Fantastic battle between those guys. Corentin Guinez was 8th. Keanu Bourguignon 9th, Mats Borg Anderson 10th, Ryan Walker and Mark Woodhouse, Michael Blake 13th, Jean-Louis Deschamps 14th, Dan Mould, good drive up the field to 15th ahead of Scotty Angelo with Ben Hicks and Paul King. Now don't forget the top 20 gets reversed rather than the top 12, so we're going to have Dean Timms on pole position for Eclipse Racing. Anton Dupin is going to be in there as well with him. Paul King and Ben Hicks, very good. Ben Hicks actually, I believe it was Ben Hicks, unless I'm getting my names mixed up, but I believe Ben won a race in the Sunday Drivers' Cup on Sunday evening at Daytona. I was very, very pleased for him. He's a top lad, is Ben. Scott Angelo, Dan Mould is going to be one to watch, I reckon. You know, when Dan gets in the zone, he's very, very quick indeed, as we've seen before. But, I mean, all those names reversed. Fraser Smith in 20th. It's going to be a very intriguing second race. But at the end of the day, we saw in that first race, didn't we, Peter, that it's very much a feasible thing to come through from outside of the top 20 into that top 10 again. So there's no reason that some of these boys near the front, or near the back of the grid in this race, that were near the front of the first race, can't do that.
Indeed, yeah, and of course they'll come through as a pack as well, and they kind of like a bulldozer sometimes coming through, and the sea can sometimes part. It's amazing how often you can see that in reverse grid races. You see these miraculous climbs through the field. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be an intriguing spectacle. I mean, you got to think that Corentin Guinez is the favourite starting furthest forward of the really top guys. So yeah, we'll see how it pans out. But of course, as we saw, there was a lot of drivers there who got wiped out the race by zero fault of their own, such is the nature of the Nordschleife. So anything can happen.
It will indeed, and it normally does. So we'll have our grid for race 2 of the evening then. Dean Timms alongside Anton Dupin on the front row, Paul King and Ben Hicks with Scott Angelo and Dan Mould, Jean-Louis Deschamps alongside Michael Blake with Mark Woodhouse and Ryan Walker. We will just filter through the rest because this grid fills up so quickly for the second race. These guys are raring to go here at the Nordschleife, or the Nordschleife, if you're going to say it right. Chris Danes as well. Watch out for the Chris Danes coming through from the back of the pack. I think he's going to be a very interesting one to watch. There are some drivers that will definitely want to make up for their race 1 results as this race gets a cracking. Porsche Sport there, obviously not impressed with my pronunciation of the Nordschleife, because I know that you meant to say Porsche, not Porsche, as I've been told millions of times by now. But in passing, I do very quickly just say Porsche, but when I have to be professional, I'll pretend to say Porsche. There you go. Love you, Luke. Anyway, Peter, you called the winner last time. We've only got a few seconds, but who do you reckon for this one?
Guinness.
13th on the grid. Right then, round 8 of the Simracersworld TCR Series gets underway. Fantastic start by the look of it for Scott Angelo. He's flying up with an absolute herd of Ignium cars near the front of the field. Let's go to some wide-angle shots, shall we? They're 3x3 into turn 1. So, as you can tell, everybody keeping it nice and calm. A little bit of argy-bargy there with Quarantine... Oh, no, it wasn't Quarantine Guinness. Sorry, I think it might have been... Who would that have been? It would have been Roman Boatclair. He's got Norbert Leitner alongside him. Miguel Freitas just in front. Seems nice and tidy from everyone so far. 2x2, though, into this hairpin. There's even 3 wide in the middle there. Oh, and there's a car around. It's Jean-Louis Deschamps. Sideways. Gets back on. Oh. Hold your hats. Nobody really losing out, although Scott Malcolm's had an issue. I think Scott went off at... Oh, no, Scott started from the pit lane, so he's playing it safe. But Dean Timms, well, he was leading the race. Anton Dupin gets very, very close. Mark Woodhouse has had a big old run into the gravel, but Anton Dupin for Flemish Sim Sports going through. Dean was leading the way. And look at this as well. Paul King wants to be king of the castle, king of the hill. There are both here at the Nurburgring. And through goes Anton to the lead of the race. Looking further back, Keanu Bourguignon side by side with Ryan Walker. Very feisty stuff. Behind them is Mats Borg Anderson. Didn't do too much in that first race, did Mats, but he's certainly... I was going to say he's certainly pushing hard here. Flash of the lights, of course, from Keanu Bourguignon. He's been a bit of a punching bag in this race. More contact again. That was Norbert Leitner. Where's Fraser Smith? He's only gained 1 place so far. He's 19th, but he's watching all of this going in front of him. Damien Owen Harris is side by side with Miguel Freitas. Sounds like somebody went off in the background there as well, but we need to keep an eye on what's going on further up. Quarantine Guinness has gained 8 places already, Peter.
Yeah, he's on the chart, isn't he? He's not wasting any time. Yeah, that's full commitment. Goodness.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's carving through the pack with gusto, that's for sure. But he's got an Ignium roadblock here as well as Quarantine. They go, well,
he's quarantined.
With that one, he's been quarantined by the Ignium cars. Yeah, absolutely. That was very clever. Going, well, if we park too wide, then he can't get by. It's like you get there's two types of Audi driver. One speeding in the outside lane and one blocking the inside lane, and there you go.
Got a bit of both there, didn't he? Quarantine Greeners. Ryan Walker now ahead of Michael Blake, and behind Mats Borg Anderson, Matthias Tatij side by side. Who's got the biggest fruit? No, not Michael Blake. Eds.
T-bone fake.
Tatij. Charlie Cox would have said it's a goal. Oh, such a shame. Michael tried to hang it around the outside, clearly it didn't work. This is Dan Mould now. Oh, he's got Quarantine Guinness knocking on the door behind him. Very close indeed. Oh, Dean Timms has gone straight on. Eds. Oh, that's a massive hit. The whole front bumper comes off. Hold the brakes, Dean. Keep it out of the way. I'm afraid that is your race done, sunshine. That means now Quarantine Guinness is into a podium position, up to 3rd place. He's gained 10 positions already. Danny Fenning's got huge damage. Oh, Tatij caught up in it again. What has happened to Danny Fenning? Oh, has he hit Dean Timms?
Oh, his front left wheel is completely knackered there as well. Oh, goodness me. Big damage. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Ready?
Oh, no. Oh, he's trying to move it. Oh, bang.
Oh, that's a massive, massive hit for Danny Fenning. Oh, Naveed Hussein. Oh, don't come back across, son. Oh, it's broken. I don't think he had any control of whether that came across or not there. Apologies, Naveed. But wow, it's kicking off here, Peter. I don't know where to look. I mean, the timing screen where we control the cameras and who we're looking at, it's mental at the moment. Keanu Bourguignon, he has been a punching bag this evening, hasn't he? Oh, no. Who was that going off? That was Scott Angelo, wasn't it? He decided not to go around the corner. I think he's got a bit of damage. The car was already going slow. And in the background again, Daniele Giudici getting his serving of the wall. Whew, calm down.
Goodness. Well, all that damage, of course, these cars run the new iRacing damage model, which it's a fair bit of extra load through your PC. Honestly, you could fry a sausage on my laptop right now after that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, having I didn't realise what sort of temperature difference it would make to the room having my PC on the desk rather than on the floor, but no more of my feet on fire, but just the whole room just heats up because it's just hot air that just gets pumped around the monitors and the lights and everything in the office that I've got. So it's already warm enough, but Yes, even warmer. Now, Quarantine Green is to second place. And there's Lily Jordan, by the way. 12 places gained to 15th. Chris Danes, 17 places gained. Go on, mate. What a drive that is so far for Chris. And I tell you what, I was going to say he does it under the radar. That camo ain't hiding nothing.
That's why they call him the Chris Danes.
Yeah. Wayne Palmer's had an issue, unfortunately. Although he might have just pulled over and thought, I'd rather not just drive around on my own, boys.
Luke from Porsche Sport in the chat. Normal drive down the M1 for an Audi driver, this.
It is, mate. It is. Weaving in and out, banging into each other. Yeah. You got to flash your headlights as well. Get on the horn.
DLRs are good enough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, DLRs are good enough for driving at midnight when you're doing 110 in the outside lane. Definitely. Especially when it's foggy as well. Great. Oh, God. Right.
With the biggest cup they sell from Costa. There's 3 of them
yeah.
tipped out in the passenger seat.
Oh, yeah, you've got one behind each of the front seats as well that's tipped over in the back. Ruined the carpet. Oh, God. It'll never end.
Going back to the lease company next week.
Ben Hicks, then, 5th place at the moment with this absolute train of cars behind him. I'm not sure what result we'll get out of this, but quite a nice shot, actually, from the blimp cam. Hello, Mats Borg Anderson doesn't need a blimp cam to see the back of Ben Hicks' car. Gives him a little bit of a kiss. Behind there is Norbert Leitner, your race 1 winner. Fraser Smith hasn't, unfortunately, made the same sort of progress. He's 11th at the moment. 9 places gained, though. Still a fantastic opening lap. Jessica Myers, just behind, has also gained 9 places in this opening circulation. Oof, nice little noise there on the limiter as the cars bounce over the curbs. But this is the first real test, I think. When you're coming around this part of the circuit in a train for the first time in a race, it's more difficult than the rest when it spreads out because there is such a concertina effect around here, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I mean, you won't get so much of an aero wash that you would get in a single-seater car, but there will be a tiny bit of running, just running with, you know, a car directly ahead of you and directly behind you. Just it really sets your rhythm off, and that takes a while to get used to. You're right, and it can really take a lap or two to adjust. Of course, it will help that the drivers have had one race already tonight, so they'll be a little bit more comfortable than they were on race 1, and I think that's showing here. But Norbert Leitner, he's done a great job to get up here from 19th on the grid to 7th. We're not even at the end of the first lap yet. Will he be able to get onto the case of his teammate? I think that's going to be a very big ask, but certainly faring better than Fraser Smith right now, and it just shows you that in race 2 it requires a different skill set. You've got to be able to carve through the pack. Sometimes there's a bit of luck involved as well, sure, but to win this championship you need the full package. You can't just clear off in race 1, you need to be good in the reverse grids as well.
You do indeed. Oh, Scott Angelo's had an issue. There was a bit of side-by-side going on behind that as well. Norbert Leitner still in position. Apologies to Fraser Smith, actually. I did just call Norbert Leitner the race 1 winner, but obviously we know that's not true, as Peter correctly pointed out. He started from 19th, not 20th. Now we're 2x2 down the straight. Let's have a look at this. Oh, look at that. Now watch Keanu Bourguignon in the middle. The Flemish guy is going to go to the... No, he's not.
Bump draft.
Yep, he's gonna
boogity,
push.
Boogity.
Oh, heck. Now, yeah, Hicks is the one that's not doing too well out of this. Look at Ryan Walker. Go on, mate. Down the outside. Oh, does Ben know they're 3 wide? Oh, Ryan needs to leave more room. He doesn't. Gets a tap. Oh, no. Oh, Ryan didn't leave enough room there. And Ben Hicks really, I mean, I said that he was the one that was losing out. I didn't expect it to go that bad. Damien Owen Harris went off circuit as well. I think that was just in avoidance. But look, Ryan just doesn't. He's not left enough room there. It's simple as that, I'm afraid. I have to say it how it is. But yeah, Damien gets onto the grass to avoid the accident. And then, oh, what happened there? I think Ryan came back on again. Oh, was there more? I think there was more contact.
I think he maybe hit Fraser, possibly.
Yeah,
it just seemed that I don't know if I got the same camera angle there, but he was very much an out of control projectile once he got onto the grass, which kind of simulated on iRacing as wet grass everywhere. Even though we don't have wet weather, he comes across.
As the car gripped, it just chucked it back to the right. It needs to be on the brakes there. Oh no! To be fair,
I think he did avoid it. Oh, wrong pit lane.
Well, his race is done at that point anyway. You know, you're going to have lost a lot of places, caused a lot of damage. And it was, unfortunately, you know, when you're at high speed like that, it is easy to just lose your bearings a little bit. You know, every single movement, we've seen it before, even in these TCR cars. They may not be the fastest thing in the world in a straight line, but they do move around a lot. They do warble, these cars. They're not the most planted to the ground, but unfortunately...
They move about like a guy in an Audi who's on his phone without the Bluetooth.
Without lane assistance on as well, you can say that for sure. But, yeah, Ryan, unfortunately, just wasn't aware of the width of the 3 wide there. Or, you know, I often see it when people go around roundabouts and can't stay in their own lane. They just cut across the lane and just chop into yours, and it's like, oh, cheers, mate. A little bit of that from Ryan there, unfortunately, but he was doing really well until that point, though.
Maybe driving along and texting in the order they've just bagged for 10 photocopiers.
Yeah, indeed. Ryan arguing that he was in front there in the YouTube chat, but the amateur steward in me isn't going to get involved in that. Chris Daines, fantastic drive at the moment. 25 places gained so far, as pointed out by a couple of the guys in chat. He's on a real mission, and that, bearing in mind, is in 1 lap. I mean, it may be a 9-minute lap round here, but whew, wow, pretty mega stuff. Dan Moulds said that he's had an off, and he said, I'm really glad you've not shown that, so hang on, Dan.
I thought you would do that.
I'll scroll up, just for you, Dan, just for you.
You don't normally take requests either.
No, I know, I hate requests, but, you know, Dan mentioned it so kindly that, here we go. It's easy, to be fair, if you say you've not been off there, you're a complete liar, because everyone has... Oh, wow, Dan.
Do it properly, wow.
Wow, Dan, you've done that a lot better than I would have done, to be fair. I would have had a very anticlimactic little kiss of the wall, and that would have been it, unfortunately. But wow. That just shows you, though, doesn't it? The fickle nature of this circuit, though. You know, you put an inch of tyre on the grass, especially in front-wheel drive cars, and they just float around. And that's the thing there. You feel the pain there for Dan, because when the back end of this car gets away, we saw it before even at very slow speed. Once it gets away, even if you do put the power in sometimes, this car's just got such a horrible long drift about it. It's like a moan. It's just this really miserable drone of a drift that it does, and it's just so painful when you get it. So I really do feel for Dan there. He was on for a good result, but it's
a football phone-in show. Just a long drone that never ends.
Very true, very true. Right then, Anton Dupin.
Do you think we could do it? We could do a sim racing phone-in show. That would be that would rival the football moan-ins. I mean phone-ins.
Football moaning. Oh, I like that. I think you're gonna have to set up a new edition of your podcast, Peter, and we'll have to do that. The sim racing
moan-ins with Peter and Chaz.
Yeah, I like that. We're gonna have to have.
We're
a chat.
onto something there.
Yeah, we are. Anton Dupin is onto something as well, but unfortunately, it's Corentin Guinez filling his mirrors. The reigning champion certainly making good stead in this second encounter of the evening. And these guys have got 5 seconds over Mark Woodhouse. The stud muffin himself, 3rd place. Great drive so far. But look at these gains inside the top 10. Ben Hicks is... Oh, I think Ben's night's done. That car is not healthy. But look at these gains inside the top 10 from some of these drivers. They've had a mega start to this second race.
Yeah, Norbert Leitner particularly. I mean, 14 places. That's mighty impressive. But, of course, Chris Daines, 26 places right from the back of the pack. Now, Interestingly, Miguel Freitas hasn't been able to actually make any progress from his grid spot. In fact, he's gone backwards slightly as well. So it's not been such a good day for the Portuguese start, former champion of the series, of course. But if you look back to Norbert Leitner, the rapid Hungarian, the runner-up in race 1, he's got Keanu Reeves B. Bourguignon right on his tail. And so you're giving him his full name. And really struggling to shake him off right now. But for Keanu, this is perfect because Norbert's got real strong pace. So if he can hang on to Norbert, he will be handsomely rewarded. Yeah, that's it. And playing the long game on a circuit like this is the main thing that you can do here. You need to just think about every single lap and every corner is not an opportunity for an overtake. It's an opportunity for you to just make your race a little bit easier. Just crack on, stay with the car in front,
and do everything you can. Now, Anders Lillejorde's just gone a little bit wide through the corkscrew, but actually gets good traction on the way out. I suppose that's one of the benefits of that. You know, while mid-corner you may lose a lot of speed, when you're actually on the smooth tarmac at the top of there, you get the more flat run out of the corner, don't you? So you do get a bit more punch than the cars that are jumping through the air coming out of the carousel. But 6 1/2 dozen the other.
Absolutely. Well, that's one thing that the kind of corner exit drive of these cars is so important, because they just want to spin the wheels. If you've ever driven a front-wheel drive car with probably too much power, unless it's got a very, very clever diff on the front of it, you're just going to just obliterate the front tires. I remember driving Mark II Focus RS, the 5. I think it's a 5-cylinder. It was a big turbocharged engine, 300 horsepower, front-wheel drive, and bit of a nudge there from De Tige onto Deschamps, who's made a bit of a happy meal at the start, but he's up to 11 so far. But yeah, I remember driving that Focus, and I drove it and gave it back to no thank you, because I just thought that the tires on that are going to last about 10 minutes, because it's just so it just wanted to chew the front tires for breakfast. And this car is a bit the same. You've kind of got to manage that acceleration. It's one of the keys to getting this car to go fast, is getting that nice smooth acceleration, because it's not easy to achieve.
No, that's the thing. It is a car that's, unfortunately, with a lot of cars like this, it's all about momentum. And when it is front-wheel drive, it's so easy for that back end just to slightly step out. And again, as Porsche Sport enjoyed before, it just has that really long drone of a slide. Nice stuff there from Norbert Leitner and Keanu Bourguignon. They get past Paul King, who unfortunately was forced to take the long way around of the second little carousel there. Now, what can Lillejorde do about defending from De Tige, or what's left of Matthias De Tige? Chucks it in. Whoa, that was commitment, but loses out to PJ Claessens, and now Scott Angelo is on the prowl as well. But just ahead of this, Mark Woodhouse is broken. He's not completely broken the slipstream to Norbert Leitner. You can see the gap actually coming down quite considerably on the timing. It's now 0.6 of a second. Now it's 5. Now it's less than that. Now it's 4. So even if you're about a second ahead, you're still going to get caught massively on this straight. And you know what? I wouldn't put it past Norbert Leitner trying to get overtake me. English. He's not going to get any chance to sort of hang back here. He's just going to go for it. Gets the overtaking move done. Mega.
Yeah, gets it done nice and clean and tidy. Mark Woodhouse, willing partner there, and I think that could be quite smart as well from Mark Woodhouse. Not to clearly, I mean, you always got to think is that Norbert Leitner's come through from 19th, and if you're in 3rd and someone comes up behind you after, a couple of laps, you think, well, maybe a good idea not to challenge him too much. He's clearly got significantly more pace, and it's sometimes knowing to pick your battles and actually using the faster cars to your advantage rather than disadvantage. But two best of pals here, Fraser Smith and Damien Owen Harris, coming down into turn 1, and Fraser really starting to get the groove on now, into 6th position, so really starting to pick up places quite quickly.
Yeah, his fastest lap of the race last time around was a 2:36. 8 minutes 36.6, and the next fastest driver on track was Corentin Guinness with a 38.4. So a good couple of seconds to the good there. Fraser Smith really is flying now. 14 places gained from the start. Chris Daines has gained 26. PJ Claessens has gained 20. He's having a mega drive at the moment in the Team 11 machine. Hopefully he does get P11 if he overtakes these two, and that will be very fitting indeed for my OCD. Paul King has actually hold on, again English Chaz, he's held on very well so far as Paul King, you know. When you start near the front of the pack, when it's as competitive as this, Damien ran a little bit wide there. Paul had to turn in at some point. A little bit of contact. But when you start at the front of a pack as competitive as this, when you're not normally up there on raw pace, it's very easy to sink like a stone. And I mean, considering the fact we've had nearly 20 minutes of racing now, Paul has held on very well indeed. That's the length of the normal races they do, isn't it? And he's still inside the top 10. So a good job from Paul, as a little bit of a moment there for Jean-Louis Deschamps. Loses out to PJ Claessens and Anders Lillejorde. And it's close again between Woodhouse and Bourguignon.
Well, maybe it's a Woodhouse Porter steak here. Is that a thing? I think maybe I'm talking rubbish. I am talking rubbish, but more rubbish than normal. Norbert Leitner has broken away though. Mark Woodhouse hasn't quite been able to hang on to the Hungarian ace, who now sets off in hot pursuit of Anton Dupin. Guinez is up into the lead now, as we perhaps expected once he got such a strong start. And God, I could be on. We're going to buy a lottery ticket, Chaz. I'm on 2 for 2 tonight so far.
You are indeed, mate. Certainly is a good...
Motorsports, there's no lion comments this week. I actually cannot remember what Luke's on about there.
No, I can't either, but that's what scares me. What have I said?
King. Lion King? No.
Oh, I don't know, maybe he's lying to us. Right then, Keanu Bourguignon still trying to stick to the back of Mark Woodhouse, but he knows that Fraser Smith is right behind him. And with the pace that he's had, I don't think it's going to stay that way for very long, but pushy stuff now from Bourguignon. He's sick of being used as a punching bag this evening, so he's thinking, right, time to exact some revenge. It may not directly be on one of the cars that's hit me, but I'm just going to crack on and do it. Door-to-door stuff has been mega tonight, and we were saying earlier that we didn't know how door-to-door it was going to be because of the nature of this circuit, but these guys have shown us that you can have just as good racing around here as you can at any other racing circuit in the world, and I suppose that's why the Nurburgring Nordschleife has just been so successful in all of its time. You know, they call it the Green Hell. I think it's just an absolutely heavenly place to race these cars. The right car just works around here, and I think these TCR cars are a fine example.
They are indeed, of course. When we run most of the time when there's Nurburgring 24-hour events here on iRacing, hit the wall there from Woodhouse. Oh, he just hopped the curb, and Fraser hit the wall as well. Okay, well, good spot. That's not good. This TCR car is very popular for the 24-hour events because it is a little bit easier to drive at pace, but or avoid incidents. But as Mark proved there, it could just take the tiniest little blip in concentration, and you know your day's done. And worst of all, there he's broken his daytime running lights. I mean, that's going to be 3 or 4 hours labour easy.
That'll be £5.5 grand. That.
Oh yeah,
£5.5 grand to replace a headlight for sure.
Yeah, you'll get a cup of coffee you can see to the bottom of though.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yeah, and a 3-year-old magazine.
PJ Clayson's suffering at the hands of Lily Jourdain then. A bit of a moment. Let's see what happened here. I think actually PJ went off first. Through the right. Lily Jourdain didn't leave him room, and PJ, he's the one that loses out more from that. Louis Correa has gone off the circuit. What's happened to Louis? A bit of damage on the front left of that car. Fast cars go bang. Fast cars go off the grass. Although I don't think it's that bit, you know. It came up saying that he'd gone off and then he hadn't come back on. But Neil Stevenson has had another nightmare. What has happened here? He's gone off the track for a few seconds, then come back on. That's the wrong part. Let's give it another look. Nope. Something keeps happening and it keeps moving me further up, but he's gone off, I think, just as he's driven along. The car's pulling right. It's very broken indeed, unfortunately, for Neil. And back in the pits. That's the second time this evening that he's gone to the pits with damage, unfortunately, Peter. And, Luke admits he's forgotten about the line comments himself, so there we go. Cheers, Luke. Cheers for the paranoia.
We'll have to listen back to it. Keanu's going off the end of the earth there at Carousel, and look at that, how damaging that is. Now that reminds me, Chaz, of the old Avis circuit in Berlin, where they had a massive banking at one end of it, and it didn't have a guardrail at the top, and some of the cars went straight off the other side and, fell to a fiery death, unfortunately. It's not there anymore, believe it or not.
That's what I was going to say. I'd imagine not, but it is. I mean, it is crazy the sort of circuits that you used to get, and you know the sections of track, and you think, is that safe? But you know, back then it was. A lot of the time a race to the death, wasn't it? That's commitment from Woodhouse, and look at that beautiful opportunism by Fraser Smith. Keanu Bourguignon wants his place back. Gimme, he says. Mark Woodhouse says no thank you. Fraser's gone now, that's it. So they've both lost out to Fraser on this lap, and the battle continues. Damien Owen Harris, he's going to be getting held up here, and he's going to feel that. He's going to really be grinding his teeth with this, just thinking, I need the door to open. He's seen Fraser just take those 2 opportunities on this one lap, even in the last sort of half a minute or so, and he needs those opportunities himself, but they're just not coming to him at the moment, are they?
No, but I think the important thing is he's not forcing them, and that's something you can't do at the Nordschleife. You've got to take them when they come in. Of course, we're just about 10 corners or so until we get to the Dottingerhoe straight, where you'll be able to get a really good drag on these cars in front. So if he just bides his time, just a few more corners, Damien O'Harris will be able to get the move done clean and move off in pursuit of Fraser Smith, who is now a little bit vulnerable to the cars behind, of course, because he will be the man leading onto the Dottingerhoe.
Yeah, that's very, very true indeed. It's not going to be an easy ride for him until the end. Matthew Crisp in the chat. Good to see you, Matthew. Really hope that we can see you next time out. It's a shame not to have you out there on track this evening. But look at this push now from Damien. We'll go on board. Hello.
Is it the fiercely forward lion?
I imagine so, but I just can't remember what joke or terrible pun I might have made. Oh no, Detige. Detige has had a moment. Has he had that through that carousel again? He did it last time, didn't he? He doesn't like this cut. That's a broken car anyway. Oh, yeah. Oh, Matthias, that's such a shame. Now, hello. Oh. Don't. Damien's gone, right, I'm going to leave that with you, and I'll see you in a bit, yeah? He's just cleared off, and it's the right thing to do. You know, Mark left a car's width, but you don't want to be doing that at this speed. Back up the hill, Bourguignon, oh no, that's a massive accident for Keanu Bourguignon. Oh, and more contact, Paul King. Paul King's really good race has come to a very, very damaging end. Oh, wow. Mark Woodhouse there. The stud muffin has
a royally
struck.
big smash.
Wow. So let's have a look. In all fairness, there was quite a lot of netcode, but Keanu didn't leave all the room in the world. And to be again, I don't really think you can blame Mark for any of that. Really, I know. Again, amateur steward right here. Yeah, but if you look at this, Mark's on the curb when the contact happens. Yes, there's netcode, but again with Paul King, as it goes off screen, you know, Mark was pretty much against that Armco barrier, and Paul still turned in. You know, Mark didn't have to back out. It's a shame, though. A real shame to see. We don't want those sorts of incidents, but again, it's just part and parcel of how close the racing is in this championship, isn't it, Peter?
Indeed, yeah, especially at that particular point of the circuit. You're so fast, and it's so easy to... It is a bit of a bottleneck. It's like a V, and they meet at the end of it. So, yeah, just an unfortunate racing advantage there. Racing incident, I should say. A real shame, actually, because they were having a great old battle. But this man has been imperious. At the start from the back, at race 1, made his way through to 8th place, and then... Well, this has been pretty dominant, but you've got to actually take your hat off as well to Anton Dupin, who's still holding second spot for Flemish Sim Sport as well. And Norbert Leitner hasn't caught up to him yet. We can see, yeah, there's still a good... Norbert Leitner's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get this HM Engineering 1-2 as they come on to the opening section of the final lap.
Now Fraser Smith is 4th, and Damien Owen Harris is 5th as well, so these two... very much promoted. Chris Daines has now gained 28 places. Twiggy in the chat, to be fair, asking a very good question, is that a new record? But for some reason in my head, 35 places gained lives rent-free in my head, which is one of my favourite races at the minute. I can't remember who it was or even what round, but I know that somebody has completely smashed it and gone through the order. But yeah, as Twiggy has said in chat, it's a mega effort by Chris Daines. Just shows that, you know, even with the long break from sim racing that he's had, he's definitely not lost it. Lee Bowden has just had an issue and come back on. Oh, Matthias de Tige, again, he's had a royal rumble of a race this evening. Here's Fraser and Damien, though. Now, this is a battle that I think everybody in the chat will want to see this week, especially around this circuit as well. And Damien is going to get the benefit of the slipstream for at least the majority of the lap. Depends whether he gets ahead before the final Dottingerhoe.
Now, viewers, this matters. These guys, make no mistake, these guys don't like each other. Not even going to sugar the pill. They do not get on, these guys. They've been on track, fighting for many races. Fought quite a lot in the Winter Series, and here. Oh!
This is Plato versus Neil, isn't it?
It is. It is. It just is. I mean, who's Matt Neil? Who's Jason Plato? I'm not even getting involved in that one.
I'm not.
No way. No, thank you. This. All you need to know, folks, is that this matters. This is more than just a battle on track. This is proper bragging rights, and you know that this is going to matter here as well. Brilliant stuff. And I tell you what, Damien's done a great job to bridge this gap, because I thought Fraser had cleared off, but Damien really gritted his teeth and thrown in some brilliant pace to catch. Oh, is he in the wall there?
He's just thrown some really good pace at the wall, unfortunately. But you could see he had the lion's share of the Armco there. Fraser hit it last time round, and now Damien has done the same. Now the gap has opened up a little bit. Fraser tiny bit out of shape there on the grass, but this is the thing now. Fraser will be spurred on by Damien being right behind him, and he'll push as hard as he can, and then in vice versa scenario, Damien will be spurred on by the fact that Fraser is just there. He's just at arm's reach in front. You know, Damien is such a feisty racer, and you know, it's win or nothing with Damien. He's such a hard charger, and you know, that's what you want in a racing driver. And I think that we're going to see a very, very interesting battle. Obviously, we know that the slipstream's going to help him, but it's all down to what happens in this latter third of the lap. Corentin Guinez now has a 7.6 second lead in this race over Anton Dupin, who is one of three drivers who are currently where they started. He's joined in that very elusive club by Miguel Freitas, started 14th, and Daniele Giudici, who started 29th. Obviously not too much to boast about, but Daniele will be happy either way. He's the happiest man in the world. Norbert Leitner, currently meaning that it's 2 HM Engineering cars on the podium. And then there's this, which is what I would call the main event at the moment, because we know that Corentin is just going to eke it out until the end. But who is going to take the honours between just these 2 drivers? Like Peter said, this really matters. But again, this is a touring car championship. It's this sort of personality and character that you want from these drivers, isn't it? You want this theatre of racing.
Yeah, it is. Don't get involved in it if you don't want to do that. It's that's what touring car racing brings. It's absolutely fantastic. We love it for it. It's not if you like, not really a purist form of the sport. It's proper Hollywood popcorn, throw some punches stuff, and that's what makes touring car racing what it is. It's fantastic. Now, of course, we think that Damien made contact with the wall there on that a little bit further back in the lap, but whatever contact he had, it doesn't appear to be holding him back too much. No. He's been able to hang on to Fraser, and we'll see when they get onto the Dottinger hole if it's going to affect the straight line speed or not, and perhaps not. But Norbert Leitner, goodness me, this is quite a gap he's ran down on Anton Dupin, and he's kind of in the perfect spot here to get a run up the Dottinger hole and take that spot and get a HM Engineering 1-2. But as we saw in race 1, sometimes the form book can go out the window when you go into that final S's.
Yeah, it can indeed. As long as you get a good punch out of the final corner and across the line, it can very quickly swing the other way. Now, as I said before, when you do get onto the Dottinger hole, you don't want to be right behind. You don't want to be as close as Norbert is now. You want to be almost a second back, maybe even 1.2 seconds. Just try and manage that gap to the best of your ability in the little run-up to that massive, massive straight. And I think that you'll get a massive slingshot off it, and it'll just work in your advantage. We saw it before, didn't we? Norbert was passed by the time they went left. You know, when they went under the bridge, obviously the very famous bridge from the bridge to Gantry run that everybody does here at the Nordschleife. He just had such an overspeed that he didn't need to worry about staying side by side or being late on the brakes into the final couple of corners. But just ahead of this, Corentin Guinez is just about to come on to the Dottinger Hoe for the final time this evening, and considering that he didn't qualify and he had a fantastic run through race 1, he's gained 12 places in this one from 13th on the grid. I believe 8 of them were within the first 2 minutes, and it's just been an incredible performance once again by this Frenchman, the Laurent Aiello of this championship, as Peter and I have called him, and he wears that number 1 with pride, doesn't he, mate?
He does, and there are plenty of other French racing drivers we could have likened Corentin to, but Laurent Aiello is the one, because that's how Laurent Aiello did his business, wasn't he? He was just out the front dominating all the time. That was the way he did things, and here we go then. Norbert Leitner, has he timed it? He's gone for the Draycott theory, he's gone for the slingshot, and there it is. Candy from a baby stuff, Chaz.
Yeah, down on the left-hand side. But now, what can Anton do on the brakes? Anton is very much...
Wall.
Yeah, that's a very big wall of fresh air that he's hit there. I think he might have gone a little bit early, you know, because Anton's going to get a good run back at him now. Who is going to give the space? Who is going to leave at this space? Still side by side. Corentin Guinez is about to win the race, by the way. We all know that. Look at these two. Fantastic respect from the pair of them. Stay side by side. Dupin does it on the brakes a bit later. Blocks off the apex. Norbert Leitner's going to get a run back at him. He's going to try and carry the pace around the outside. It's going to be a dead heat to the line. I think Norbert's going to do it. What a fantastic bit of racing by these pair. Amazing stuff. But Norbert Leitner makes it a 1-2. Corentin Guinez is your winner. And Damien Owen Harris is going to get it done to the line on Fraser Smith. Damien just beats him at the end. How did that go down? We obviously missed it, but we all know it's going to be to do with the slipstream. Damien just ducks to the right. Fraser's on the left. And again, look, he's alongside and he's passed him very, very late on. Fraser moves over a little bit. Very close to making contact again. Bit of curb. Nice and respectful on the brakes. Gives him the space. Now Fraser does a great job there. He lines it up for the apex of the corner. A little bit of a bump, maybe. Gets a good run. And actually, Fraser was coming back at him. There's a little bit of there. But fantastic stuff from those pair again. Great to see that rivalry reignited. As we've missed that across. Oh no, Miguel Freitas. Oh wow, Freitas has had a smash at the end of this. Like this is a monster of an accident, surely here. Oh, he's fighting with Roman Bokler. Fraser. Oh no, I keep calling him Fraser. Oh no, that's out of control and that's way too fast. Oh, Bokler gives him a hit as well. Oh, every corner of that car took a pounding there, Peter. That was not a comfortable ride for Miguel Freitas.
Yeah, that one's ready for the bin. But it's, you know, like we said it before, Chaz, there are no small accidents in the North life, especially when you get on the grass at the wrong end of top gear. Just like that, as we saw. Oh, one for good measure.
Yeah, that was a massive hit. Lee Bowden also just had an incident, which we missed for a sec. Although, actually, no, sorry, He's decided that he's going to... no, you've not got a handbrake map, mate. Oh, my God. Well, that was... I love how the wheel just pops off at the end there as Anton Dupin does some donuts. You know, third place. Fantastic result from him. But there is your race winner, everybody. Corentin Guinez. An amazing performance from Corentin once again. We absolutely love this sort of stuff from him. And the reigning champion doing it right. Norbert Leitner, though, you have to say, him and Anton Dupin there, the respect involved in those last couple of corners, Peter, that was monumental stuff. That's perfect racing.
It was. You don't expect anything different from Anton as well. He was what a pro there. He'll be disappointed to miss out on that second spot, but a great podium there for Anton Dupin. And Norbert has 2 second places tonight, so a great haul of points for him. And what a finish there between Damien and Fraser. Damien played that one pretty perfectly, but he did all the hard work. Just at the beginning of that lap to be able to bridge the gap up to Fraser was the hard part, and then played the strategy perfectly. Really interesting to watch.
He did indeed, and we've actually still got this battle going on. This is how long the lap is. Craig Schill and Dean Timms side by side down the Dottinger Hoe through the long left. They've actually got Neil Stevenson about 3.5 seconds up the road as well. Scott Malcolm another 4-5 seconds up. Now who's going to come out of this on top? Craig Schill on the right. Dean Timms on the left. No! Oh, boys. More contact up at the top of there. Really is dangerous. Go on, J-turn it, Craig. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Fair play, Craig. Fair play. Again, it's very difficult to leave room up there because the car does handle pretty well at high speed. It does dart from one way to the other. But that was very, very interesting racing there. Really enjoyed that, though. Fantastic stuff again from this championship. Always entertaining to watch. And we still don't have results because I think Daniele Giannici, we have to actually wait for Daniele to finish the lap. And it was him last time as well, so he's getting some wonderful airtime here for the Sim Stickers team. But I think he was just short of being lapped by Corentin Guinez. So he's got to do a full lap. He's not even halfway through the lap at the moment, so bit of downtime. But we still get to watch this lovely Sim Stickers Racing Audi TCR car go round. But while that is going on, who do you reckon? I mean, I think I know the answer to this anyway. Who is your driver of the night?
Do you know what? For me, Norbert Leitner, actually. I think he was the guy who was there consistently, qualified well, of course, and was running up the front both times, made an amazing carve through the field there in race 2. So, yeah, HM Engineering's Norbert Leitner, and I think he'll be sticking with the silver wheels. He'll be leaving the green wheels well and truly in the bin.
He will indeed, mate. He will. Also, Ross Nicholson actually gave Paul Godden a shout out in the chat as well, because he got 1 incident point all night, did Paul Godden, and that is a massive achievement around here, to be fair. I mean, Fraser Smith won the first race on 0 incidents as well, and I mean, the thing is, if you touch the grass here, you're going to have an accident. So a lot of the time, off tracks are very much avoided, but either way, to do that around here, a circuit as difficult as this, and still do it on pace as well. Nice little drift there from Daniele Giudici. Fair play to Paul Godden. I think I kind of agree with you there on Norbert Leitner. You know, Corentin Guinez, fantastic come through the field, but he still had to work for it because, well, I mean, it's not his fault, his internet disconnected, but he made the most of the situation. But Chris Danes, I mean, 29 places gained in that second race. That's one of the biggest drives through the field that we've ever seen in this championship. It was just incredible. Really incredible stuff, to be fair. And I mean, to make it through, and the car looked relatively clean when he crossed the line as well, so that's what makes it even more impressive, I think.
Indeed, yeah, and that's just something that's just not easy to do at the Nurburgring Nordschleife, of all places, to be able to do that. Absolutely fantastic for Chris Danes, and now we know why he's referred to as the Chris Danes. Now, while we're watching this lovely Sim Stickers Audi RS3 LMS TCR, we already have one of our championship protagonists in to have a chat with us, Chaz.
We do indeed. Fraser Smith, very eager to have a little chat with us after what I can imagine was a very sweaty race evening, because, I mean, we know that this is a hard circuit to get right all of the time, Fraser, but, I mean, the level of competition tonight was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't, usually before a race I'm quite chilled out and it's all good, but that first race I was feeling the nerves today, I've got to be honest. And yeah, I think I was mainly I know I can get around the track on my own, but when you're really pushing it, it's quite hard to keep out the fence.
Yeah, that's the thing, when you're trying to eke out every single tenth over the course of a lap and just clip that apex a little bit more, try and avoid the curbs. It's not the smoothest of circuits either, is it? It's very bumpy, so it's easy for you to sort of bounce around here and there, and before you know it, one little touch of the grass or touch of a curb, it can ruin your lap, can't it?
And obviously this series uses the new damage model, which when you hit a curb the wrong way, I mean, it's probably more like it should be, but when you hit a curb the wrong way or if it bottoms out, it can quite quickly go wrong. So it took a lot of like getting used to, because I've mainly only driven this track in like the VLN series, which has old damage model. So that was the biggest change, I would say.
Yeah, it was certainly a different territory for a lot of drivers out there tonight, obviously yourself included as well. And I mean, these cars are a handful at some of the best of times, just because of their front-wheel drive nature. When you're in a pack like you were in both races, I mean, at most of the time you had cars completely surrounding you. What is it like when you're trying to just drag these cars through every single corner and be as quick as possible?
It's quite tricky. In that second race where obviously it was reverse grid, I obviously quite often have the brake bias quite far back, which helps me, but it does mean when you're next to people, you have to really bear in mind that when you hit the brakes, the rear end can hit them. So I was messing around a lot with that, so I didn't take anyone out. But you just got to not be greedy, I think.
I was just about saying, Daniele Giudici, who we're watching here, has just been a little bit greedy there. Had a bit of a scary moment at the very end of the race. He will be the last car to cross the line, and we'll finally have our results. But I mean, well done on the win, Fraser. You had to work hard for it, that's for sure. And obviously the second race result as well. You had a nice little scrap with Damien at the end as well, which is always good to see. Is there anything that you sort of thought could have gone better this evening? Because it seemed like you had a pretty good one. Yeah,
actually, in the second race, I was trying to be really careful, and Norbert got through all the traffic a lot quicker than I did. Or got through the pack, and I just got held back a little bit, and then I actually smashed the fence when I was following Mark Woodhouse, and then obviously lost a bit of top end speed. But I'm quite happy with P5, really. Can't complain.
Yeah, that's it. A win and a P5. Plenty of points on the table, especially for the championship going forward. Before we let you go, though, as ever, do you want to give anybody a quick shout-out before you go, mate?
Yeah, everyone who's involved running this behind the scenes, yourselves and Bart, my teammates at Full Sim Racing, and I would especially say well done to Damien today, because we managed to finish a race next to each other. So.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. Well, we will hopefully speak to you next time round, buddy. Well done again, and we'll see you soon. He did say bye then, but for some reason it didn't come through. I saw him light up on the screen. Someone who I can see light up from here, the man that finished that race in 3rd place there, Anton Dupin, joins us in the commentary box. Anton, you must be over the moon, mate. That looked like a really good fun race for you, that one.
Yeah, it was. Was a bit unlucky in the first race, but it gave me a good position for second race, so I knew I had to get past Dean Timms before we got onto the Nordschleife to build a bit of a gap to the fast guys. I was surprised after half a lap I was already having Corentin behind me, but okay. In the end I still managed a good result.
Well, it certainly looked like a lot of hard work, even when you're out on your own at the front there. Just when you had that moment where you got past Dean Timms, obviously with the little mistake, did you think that when the gap started opening up that you could go on and win the whole race?
Not really. I mean, maybe in the back of my mind it was kind of playing, but I knew from the moment that people like Corentin or Norbert would get in front of the pack, they would close me down rapidly. So I knew eventually they would pass me. Yeah,
indeed. It can be a case of when, not if. Sometimes it certainly is a bit of a difference in pace here and there, but you held on, mate, and you got a podium out of it, and it's a very, very strong result to start second on a reverse grid and not fall down that much. We've seen it before where. I said it during the broadcast, it's easy to sink like a stone. As soon as one driver gets past, you just seem to get freight train, but you did a mega job in that one, mate, and you should be very, very pleased. Now, of course, next time out in this championship, we're going to a very different scenery, a different area of scenery, but we're going to Alton Park, so it's another narrow, grassy circuit. I mean, it's been called a mini Nurburgring before by Joachim Winkelhock very famously, but are you confident going to Alton?
Not that really. I haven't raced there a lot, so I don't know. We will see.
We certainly will, mate. It's definitely a track that demands a lot from people. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before you go?
It's my team, my teammate Keanu also. He had a lot of bad luck today, but yeah, I'm sure he will be ahead of me again for the next races, and then everybody who works behind the scenes to make this series.
It certainly is a belter, mate. Thank you very much. Nicely said, and we will speak to you very soon, Anton.
Thank you. See you.
Cheers. Now, someone who I do really want to speak to is, I imagine, a little bit gutted after the end of the race there, despite the wonderful J-turn that we got to witness. Craig Schill joins us in the box. Craig, that looked like a really good fight there with Dean, but unfortunately, as we saw many times this evening, at the top of the hill, it all came to, just went to tears, didn't it, unfortunately?
Considering I haven't set an official lap on that circuit since the time I've been on it.
it's certainly
the track limits. And
I was going to say, I mean, Peter and I were talking about how much you need experience around here to keep the pace up. What did you make of driving it? I mean, is it the first laser scan version of it that you've driven?
Yes, ever. Never driven that circuit in my life. It's it took a bit of getting used to. There were corners where there weren't supposed to be corners in my head, and it took a lot of concentration.
I can imagine. I mean, the first time I ever went round here was on a good old Xbox, one of the original Xboxes, years and years ago, and I still probably don't have as great a knowledge as I'd like to have of it now. The main thing around here, though, I think, and I'm not sure whether you'll agree or not, is it's the bumps. It's not a smooth circuit at all, is it? It's very bumpy, and it can really sort of, especially in this car, it can jump around, can't it?
Especially in the braking zones.
Yeah.
You think you're braking in a straight line, and then there's a bump, and you don't know which way it's going to go, and you've got to try and catch it, and then you hit another bump, and it goes the other way. So yeah, it's it's definitely been a mental strain on me tonight to do 2 30-minute races.
Yeah, they're not easy, especially with the fact that they are longer than the normal races as well. But to be honest, I've very much enjoyed seeing your progress. Obviously, up the ranks through this series, and hopefully it continues. Now, next time, I believe I can't remember whether we discussed this before, but Alton Park, yes or no?
Yes, love Alton Park.
Massive yes, indeed.
I've marshalled there with the touring cars many times.
Mhm.
Done a lot of MX-5 driving there on the sim,
Yeah.
and Skip Barbers. So it's probably my favourite circuit.
I like to hear that, because Peter knows as much as anybody that, I mean, Alton Park is my local. I only live 9 miles from there, and it's just the absolute gem on the UK racing scene, in my opinion. It's not always the best for racing, admittedly, because it's so narrow you can't often overtake, but do you reckon you can make the most of this Audi around there?
I will be practicing a lot, put it that way, and I'll see if I can get a 360 in next time rather than the J-turn, which I'm going to admit now was a complete and utter fluke.
Well, it still looked good on the broadcast, mate. It was a shame, of course, to see the incident, but very well done on the styling it out at the end. Before we let you go there, Craig, do you want to give anybody a quick shout out, mate?
I'll apologise to Dean for coming across him. I thought I gave him more room than I did. I'm only on a single monitor, so no wing mirrors. Just the usual, yourselves, Bart, for putting it all on, and Ian and everybody that's racing. It's a privilege to be part of it, and I'll just keep learning. So thanks for everybody.
No problem at all. Thank you very much, Craig. Good to speak to you again. We'll see you soon.
Speak to you later.
Cheers. Lovely guy, Craig Schill. Very new to iRacing, and certainly getting involved in it in this championship, isn't he, Peter? He's one of those drivers that doesn't just sort of sit at the back, oh, I'm here for safety rating. You know, he gets stuck in, doesn't he?
I have to say that it's mighty impressive to have not ever run on the Nurburgring before, and to go into a competitive environment like that. Big respect there to Craig Schill, because that is, talk about jumping in at the deep end. That is, well, that is it. That's really going to take my hat off.
Yeah, indeed, it certainly was a mega result. Fantastic evening though for HM Engineering. Corentin Guinez wins race 2. Norbert Leitner finishing second in both races. Fraser Smith, your race winner in race 1. And we have seen so much unbelievably close racing this evening once again. But unfortunately, as ever, that is all we have time for tonight. We will be at Alton Park in a week's time, and I cannot wait for that one, as you all expect. Thank you very much again, as ever, Peter MacKay. So much fun commentating with you, buddy. And thank you, everybody at Simracersworld, for putting the series on. Thank you to the admins, all the drivers as well, for providing so much entertainment. I've been Chaz Draycott. This has been the Simracersworld TCR Series, and we'll see you in a week. Good night.